Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 332 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's going on, everybody? The playoffs are just about here. We have no idea when they're starting, when they're kicking off. The Canadian division might be playing to July, but they're coming. Playoffs are getting here soon. We know the matchups pretty much all set. We'll get to them shortly. We got some other stuff to get to. I was down Manhattan for 4 days last week, 4 days of chaos at MSG. Let's say hi to the gang first, then we'll get to all the hot stuff. Grinelli, that's a nice new bucket on your head right now.
All right, the week is finally come, and I'm not talking about the NHL playoffs. I'm talking about the Spittin Chiclets and Pink Whitney bucket hats are finally here. I'm wearing it right now. You're wearing it. Biz Ward in the next sandbagger that's dropping. These things are great. People have been asking for them for months now. So they're dropping Thursday, and we're happy to put them on sale.
All right, perfect time. You're here for them, whether you go on the beach, little, up the lake, the mountains, whatever. Can't beat a nice beach hat. These things are pretty sharp, too. Plus, they're a beacon to fellow Chiclets listeners when they see it. Let's go to Biz Nasty out in the desert next. What's up, buddy? Your schedule's wide open. The Coyotes are done.
Coyotes are toast. Rick Tocchet not coming back with the team. Very sad to hear that. Unbelievable guy. Tried to change the culture here. Unfortunately, boys fell off short. But I think based on the lineup the Coyotes had, I think he did everything in his power to try to make the team and organization better. He showed up every day to work. And Rick Tocchet, thank you very much for your contributions to the organization. And there's no doubt in my mind that you will be contacted very soon to get another job somewhere.
Okay. So much for the time.
Oh, no, I just wanted to, come on. It's like what do you call those when you put a season of rest for a team? Sometimes they do them on
eulogy.
It was like a little Coyote eulogy up the top. I got to get my sad business out of the way. So now we can be more positive because there was tons of positivity in the last week surrounding the NHL, right, Whit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. I don't know if you want to introduce me, but I can just do it for myself because he threw it over to me, so no worries. Biz, at least the Coyotes have the draft to look forward to. Oh, wait. They don't have a first-round pick for like 10 years.
You fucking asshole.
Poor fucking team. You know what? Rick Tocchet, he'll land on his feet. What's going on, guys? It feels like we haven't chatted. One of those, feels like a month, but it's only been 7 days. I'm glad to be here. There's a million things we have to get to. So, RA, I'll let you lead it off with what we're starting this week's episode with.
Yep. First off, I just said the playoffs are here. We don't know when they're going to stop, but when they do, you want to stock up by heading over to your local liquor store today to find the Pink Whitney and the new 375 milliliter Mickey size bottle. They call them Mickeys up in Canada. I don't even know what they call them here. I call them hobo size. So you want to kick off the pregame, close the after party, whatever in between, go to your local liquor store and get the Pink Whitney and the Mickey size. Check it out. What do we talk about? Nothing really happened since our last episode I could think of, so we could probably wrap this up quick. Tom
Wilson legitimately lowered the value of the franchise for the New York Rangers overnight. They had to release a new Forbes list and reevaluate what the fuck has happened in the last 7 days, folks. I think it came to you the day that we ended up releasing the last podcast, right, RA?
Like 2 hours after we taped it. Everyone's like, you guys got to get back. I was like, we all died in different directions.
Because the timeline of it is like the New Testament. So we needed 6 days to write what the fuck has gone on. Now go ahead. Lead us off, RA.
All right. We'll kick it off. Monday, Caps, they're looking to solidify first place in the division. Seems like a regular game. Scrum by the net. Tom Wilson falls on Pavel Buchnevich. He didn't have to fall on him. He did. Gives him a little bit of a shot. Then, there's a scrum ensuing, and then he's got, I think it's Strome down. He's thrown him a few shots now. Artemi Panarin comes in. Instead of maybe pulling Wilson off or doing something, he jumps on his back. Wilson reacts as if someone jumps on his back. And like I wrote in my blog today, he's like a rattlesnake. If you provoke him, something's going to happen. And he reacted thusly, slammed Panarin down on the ice. Next day, everybody thought he was going to get suspended. He gets a $5,000 fine, not even for the Panarin thing, but for hitting Buchnevich. Then the Rangers come out. I should say, I'll put that in quotes. The Rangers had a statement later. It turned out basically the owner crying to the league, and a lot of people agreed with it, but that's not how the NHL operates, Biz. Like when teams have supplemental discipline against them or whatever, every team's going to complain, but you respect the decision. You respect the process. You don't, fucking name names like that. And apparently GM Jeff Gordon and President John Davidson distanced themselves from this, whoever they told or whether they told owner to the owner to his face. Anyways, they get fired fucking Wednesday afternoon. It was like, are you kidding me? These two guys who have having a great year for the franchise, all of a sudden they're fired. He promotes Chris Drury. Now we're hearing Mark Messier on New York radio out of the blue. Haven't heard Messier say a word in 10 years. Now he's throwing his name in for a job. And then, of course, Wednesday night, the fireworks right off the hop. 3 fights right off the initial face-off. Right, 3 more in, I think, the next 4 minutes. Just absolute mayhem all over the ice. Now, I think going into that game, Biz, and you can agree, disagree, whatever, I think the Rangers, like, their manhood was on the line because of what the owner did, the way things had reacted. And I think the Capitals sort of obliged them. I think the Capitals knew that their owner put them in a shitty spot, and they're like, yeah, we're going to give these guys a fight here and kind of let them redeem themselves a bit.
Well, first of all, unbelievable breakdown up until this point. I thought the Rangers handled it well in the midst of the situation. Like, even Panarin was jumping on Wilson's back because he was there to defend teammates. So I had no problem with what went down on the ice. And then now the quotes, I believe, from Quinn was he had no idea that was discussed in the locker room beforehand. Now, that could be him saving himself a fine. I don't know what the conversation was exactly with, because you can't push the guys to fight, because I think that the league will hammer Quinn if that's the case. But regardless, they answered the bell appropriately. The rest of the game ensued. And I mean, just going back to the incident itself. Now, people were confused as to why Wilson needed to come in on Buchnevich when it wasn't even his guy. But the way I saw it, and keep in mind, like, Wilson and me were probably wired in the same, where when we're on the ice, there's a certain barrier we like to basically protect our goalie to a certain degree. When Buchnevich fell down and there was like a bit of a scrum, and then when the goalie ended up freezing it, I don't know, it was probably just reactionary. And I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but when you look from the overhead, did you see him kick out his leg and hit the goalie's pad?
Yep.
So yeah, so Wilson sees that, and right away he's like, well, you just kicked my goalie. I know it was instinctive, but I'm going to give you a shot. Now, people said he gave him a shot in the head. Well, that same overhead angle shows him, he kind of just shoves him in the shoulder down. Like, I mean, guys, if you're a person who, I guess, has never played any type of contact sport, if you go to the grocery store, you're probably not going to get shoved in the back like that. But that's just shit that happens 50 fucking times a game. Right. So I think that I respected Strowman reacting, where he ended up jumping on Wilson to defend Buchnevich, who was down. Then melee ensues. Then Panarin jumps on his back. And where they think the line was crossed was the fact that, well, one, it's Panarin. His helmet was off, and then he slammed him to the ice viciously, where, well, yeah, the video I'm seeing online that's been slowed down to where the act of him being thrown to ice is spread out across 20 seconds. Well, yes, it does not look great, but that doesn't tell nearly the entire story. And people were saying he pulled his hair. Well, he still had his gloves on. His hand was by his hair. I don't think he pulled his hair. And when he slammed down, yeah, it looked violent, but fuck, he jumped on his back. It's a scrum. He weighs probably 100 pounds more than him, and he's a mutant. And even after Panarin had gotten up, after he'd been slammed, I think he went back after Wilson. And after it was all said and done, they panned up with the camera to Panarin, and he was kind of smiling, being like, fucking rights. Like, he was loving it. So and then Twitter just took on a mind of its own, and a lot of check marks went crazy. And I think it's absolutely fucked up. I will say this, based on the reaction of it all, I was like, well, I'll tell you what, if I was in charge, just based to shut everyone the fuck up, I might have given him a game. And it also kind of neutralizes the following game, where maybe it won't go banana lands. But I tell you what, I commend George Peros for sticking his guns, because that was a regular scrum. Yeah, it had a situation that might have gone a little bit out of control. I think Panarin's just as much to blame as Wilson is for going spider monkey, right? He went full spider monkey on his back. And yeah, and to the flex in the box. I mean, listen, from a purely entertainment standpoint, buddy, this was the biggest bang for your buck moment of the entire season. That picture of him flexing in the box ignited an absolute fire. That's probably what made Dolan go cuckoo.
Well, he's been cuckoo for a long time. That guy's a moron. But Biz and RA, you guys, I mean, I don't really know where to go because you just described everything pretty well. Now, I'll say this. When you say Twitter went crazy, Biz, yeah, it was going nuts. I sent out a tweet. I said, just a reminder that any GM in the league would take Tom Wilson. Facts only on my Twitter page. And people were going bananas on me. I released a little video in which I was kind of just being myself. I'll give my own take on the people crying to me online. So why don't you just play that video, Mikey?
Tom Wilson should be kicked out of hockey. You're an idiot, Whit. Bad take. This ain't it.
Now, seriously, I want to kind of like agree with a lot of the things you said, Biz, but when I did that video and then I looked at it, and then I looked at like the play and how violent it was and Panarin and how bad it could have been. Like, there's times I just regret I didn't say stuff on Twitter. Are you kidding me? These people, and they're whining and they're crying, dude. Give them a game. I don't even care, Biz. That was the smartest thing you said.
That wouldn't have shut him up.
Wouldn't even have cared.
That wouldn't have shut him up.
But these people are yelling, kick them out of the game of hockey. Boot them from the league. And I forgot to say the one thing that's my favorite when people write back, there's time to delete this, man. Shut up. I ain't deleting anything. We can get to the Washington Capitals deleting a tweet, though, in a minute. That entire play, you can describe in a million different ways, but I'll say it like this. Big ups to Panarin, because that guy was defending a teammate. They're your brothers out there. They're who you care for. And Panarin saw a buddy getting beat on in Buchnevich, and he went in. Well, welcome to the Terror Dome, bud. And you could say that Wilson should understand and see that it's Artemi Panarin and he's so much bigger. And those are all like valid arguments, but he doesn't give a shit. And this is a violent game, and this has always been a violent game. And it was the most probably watched and talked about moment of the season, including the next game and how anticipated that was. So how good is that for the league? So all you babies out there, all you fans who want to get rid of the high hitting and want to get rid of the fighting, and every single hit should be suspendable, and every little thing that happens behind the play, the guy should be kicked out of the game of hockey. You're losing this argument, because if you talk to every ex-player, what do they say? They're like, I don't know, man. Yeah, that could have really been bad. And I actually saw it, and right away I was like, thank God, dude, he is okay, because it could have been bad, but it wasn't. And you don't suspend people for coulda, shoulda, wouldas, right? You don't suspend people on what could have happened. And Panarin was fine, and he jumped on him. And when you jump on a fucking enraged human being in the middle of playing a violent sport, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? And Rangers fans going crazy. Most of those Rangers fans, maybe a little older RA, are probably Giants fans. Do you think they thought Lawrence Taylor was a fucking menace to society, which he actually was in real life? Or do you think they looked at him like a hero and a man who won them 2 Super Bowls back in the fucking 90s while being a complete lunatic on the field, injuring people every other game? They're hypocrites. It's a violent game. I've said before, hockey is rock and roll. It ain't jazz. And I'm sorry, like, I saw some arguments. I saw a Hockey Night in Canada, which had a great first period intermission. They had a great first period intermission. Ron McLean, Kelly Rudy, Jen Botterill, and Bieksa. Can never say his name right. They were basically all telling him he was wrong. Dude, he played in the NHL and fought Tom Wilson. Yeah. Like, I understand people's opinions on where the game needs to go. And they're, people are saying, like, well, the game's changing. Well, is it though? It's changing a little bit, but they're still fighting allowed. You're still seeing that plays like this are not being completely like, what's the word I'm looking for? Over dramatized by George Peros. Is that even a word? Over dramatized? You know what I'm trying to say? Now. It is now. It in there. Put on a T-shirt with Biz's fucking illuminated.
Supplementary, just for supplemented.
I don't get where people come from in looking at plays that are so normal and happen all the time and saying that it should lead to somebody being kicked out of the game of hockey. Yeah, he's had suspensions in the past. This one, dude, I don't know what you want me to say, but it was not that bad. And if he'd gone over and sucker punched Panarin, dude, give him fucking life. I don't care. He jumped on his back.
You're going to, you guys, the people who want Tom Wilson shot into a cannon into space, you're going to get your day. If he plays the way he plays on that line, you're going to get your day.
He'll do something
The
stupid.
problem was you got yourself so worked up. You thought the hammer was coming down and it didn't. And then you guys lost your minds and you kicked and screamed and you complained. And you talk about that panel where it's like, listen, you have to remember that a lot of them are pandering to an audience now because a lot of them are dialed in online. Now, even when I first retired, stepping into this job, you always want to open your perspective up and try to listen to different opinions and agree to disagree on certain things, right? You want to have an open perspective. But same thing with you, Whit. Like I read through it, then I go consult guys who are Hall of Famers who had over 1,000 points. So not the donkeys, not the knuckle draggers, not the people that you're going to be able to be like, oh, of course you agree with that.
They all hate.
They just like, yeah, throw whatever mud you want at me. But I talk to the people that did it to the level of where they know more. They've forgotten more about hockey than you'll know in your lifetime. They're like, this is a big nothing burger. These people online are just fucking barking into the abyss. And the Department of Player Safety shoved it right up their hoop.
Hey,
Good
Biz.
job, George. Attaboy.
Biz.
What?
You know the Vegas Golden Knights?
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
I think they're in our division, actually. Yeah,
they're in your division. Yeah, solid team, right?
Decent.
I don't know if you saw this past week, they played in Minnesota. And there was a bunch of chirping, and there was a bunch of fighting, and there was an old melee going down.
Let me get the lube.
Do you know the guy Mark Stone we had on the show once?
I've heard of him.
Do you know what he said involving Ryan Reeves and Reeves actually not being in the lineup because he's injured right now?
What did he say?
Well, he said, you know what? It'd be nice to have Revo in the lineup. I think they'll feel a little different when Big 75's out there. I don't think there'll be as much chirping. Rangers fans, do you know your team? Do you know who they decided to make your team with? They decided to go with speed and skill, and they have nobody to do anything. So Tom Wilson's out there. Who is going to do one thing to him on the New York Rangers?
They traded the one guy that could. Brandon Lemieux, they traded him.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, obviously an alpha fucking dog, whether he's an idiot or not, and whether he has had ridiculously dirty hits in his past or not, an alpha on the ice is going to take advantage of whatever he can. He's going to hunt, and he's out there and he's smashing their best player's fucking head off the ice nearly, and he doesn't care because no one's going to do anything. Dude, play Vegas. He didn't want to go Revo. He doesn't want to go Matt Martin. So you can chirp him and you could say all these things about him, but you know who love him? All of his teammates, you stupid fucking idiots at home who think that every single physical player should be kicked out of the NHL.
Caught in the space.
The game polices the game, right? The guys that are on the ice are able to still, even in this day and age, protect each other in ways that really the league can't. The NBA, there's a fight. Security guards are sprinting on the court. In the NHL, there's still guys that are looking at somebody who did something dirty to one of their best players, and they're saying, I'm getting you later. And that makes people sick. That act of violence makes certain people so disgusted. Well, hockey isn't for you. And some of the things that have changed, we've talked about a million times, are great for the game. It's like, yeah, I mean, those premeditated fights, Biz, you had a lot of them, like, and you see what players have gone through. That is awful. Players now, they know what they signed up for. Players then knew what they signed up for. They wouldn't change a thing. I'm sorry. I know you hate to hear this. Guys play in the NHL. It's a dream come true, and they know exactly what they're getting into. So we can listen to the people online or we can not. But George Parros, and he's got a job for life now, by the way. To be named like that in that fucking statement, he's set for, he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I just remember, like, that's the what is it? The vocal minority.
Yeah,
online.
Again,
like that's not hockey fans. That does not speak for the game. The views do, and we saw how those went on fucking Wednesday, and probably the most watched game and most talked about game all year long. And in the second note, it's like most people aren't going on there to complain about that. They're just watching and enjoying it. So that we'll leave it at that. Are we going to talk about the Dolan stuff?
Yeah, no, we got a lot more to get to. I just want to follow up, but it's the NHL. This isn't mites. Like, this isn't the same standard you expect like little kids to play, or high school kids, or even college kids. It's the premier league on the planet, and things are going to get rough and tough and edgy, and that's the standard that the guys in the union wanted at, and everybody else complains about it, and they're not in the fucking union. And yes, LT was a bad motherfucker too.
Yeah,
when you brought him up. You mentioned the Capitals. They posted that tweet. I don't even understand half the fucking memes that are on the social media these days, but basically was saying Wilson's in these guys' heads and they chose violence. And I mean, it got taken down as quick as it went up. But it's kind of funny because in the long run, after the week played out, they were basically right the whole time. Wilson wasn't everybody's heads. He didn't get suspended. What else here we got? Oh, I think
I was sending out
why did
on
they delete
Twitter.
that
I said, what?
Why'd they delete that tweet, already?
Oh, because people were fucking crying and complaining.
I know, but fuck, like, oh my God, if you just left that up, like, who cares?
I was chirping the Twitter guy. I said, you should have to go out there and answer the bell against New York. They should have put him on the taxi squad for a day to get some practice, and then called them up, have them answer the fucking bell. That would have been good. Oh, at least to have them warm up.
Oh my God.
When it said Capitals choose, violence, that whatever fucking Twitter meme. I don't even understand half of them anymore. But basically, probably because it had the word violence in it with a picture of Willie.
Okay, I mean, maybe violence, yeah. But they
the optics
left
of
it up.
Still fucking.
Let all
hilarious.
these people scream.
I will say though, I'm okay with people hating Tom Wilson's guts. We need some villains.
It's great for the league. This is good for the league.
He's a Bond villain.
For the NHL, oh, he is a villain now. He's gonna hit somebody in the playoffs, and it's going to be amazing to sit back and watch.
Hey, we should do a content piece where he skates half the length of the ice and just hammers me. I have to stand straight up,
elbow right to the nose.
He could torpedo too. It's like doing the spins in fucking foosball. Just fucking torpedo launch right into my face.
Yeah, business.
Presented by Pink Whitney.
As far as Dolan, man, Rangers fans are probably like, fuck, he remembers he owns the team now. Because basically, he had been away from that team. I think there were probably some Rangers fans didn't even realize he owned them in addition to the Knicks. And now it's like, oh, shit, they're on their radar. And obviously,
the Knicks are good, though. So now he's going to mess up the Rangers.
Yeah, they're having a good year, but they still haven't done shit since, I think, 73 was the last title they won, I believe. But yeah, it's basically, if I'm a Rangers fan, it's like, shit, Dolan's aware of us. But at the same time, after all this shit went on, and by the way, I didn't even get to the fine. The Rangers, they got fined $250,000 for the statement, which is basically car console money for Dolan. I don't think he gave a shit. Gary Bettman said, public comments of the nature issued by the Rangers that were personal in nature and demeaning of a league executive will not be tolerated. While we don't expect our clubs to agree with every decision rendered by the Department of Player Safety, the extent to which the Rangers, i.e. Dolan, expressed their disagreement was unacceptable. And ironically, Pavel Buchnevich was suspended a game for cross-check and Mantha.
That was the dirtiest play in the whole thing.
He should have got. I thought he was going to get more than a game for that. And I'll be honest with you, not to pile on the Rangers, but he probably got away with one during the Monday night game because when he jumped in the scrum, he inadvertently headbutted one of the linesmen with his helmet, man. I mean, even if you make contact with an official, not on purpose, sometimes you get fucking.
But let's say this: it all evens out in the wash. Let's fucking call it a draw. Right? It's like he fucking went. What do you go? Cross-check first.
Well, Biz. Hold on. The Capitals beat the shit out of them. They won both games. Their GM and president got fired, and then one of their best players got suspended. This was not a wash. This was the biggest drumming in the history of one organization to another in a 1 week span. I'll say this though, Chris Drury. He's gonna change things. Chris Drury has been probably one of the most, if not the most sought after GM in the league over the past couple of years. And he's turned down interviews with people, and he's just blatantly pretty much made it clear he wanted to wait and be in New York and take over that team. And there's no one better for the job. I've known him for a long time. He's as dialed in as they come. He's smart. He knows what it's take to win. He's won everywhere. And so in a sense, yeah, the Rangers lose Davidson and Gorton, but this is a good move for them.
I mean, Davidson and Gorton got the fucking shaft.
Oh, yeah. Gorton been there like 15 years, I think.
The what they've done in the last couple of years in order to change it from where it was to now, like, guys, remember, like we've been talking about one team all year long, the Buffalo Sabres. Like, it's not necessarily that easy to just reload. And listen, I think that they're a very solid team that's missing a few pieces. And if Lafreniere and Capo Caco pop, Is that how you say it? Capo Caco? I hammered that. Nice.
I think he might like stink.
But I think Lafreniere's coming around. Anyway, regardless.
Oh, he's nice.
The one aspect that we can't forget in the bright spot and all this, you actually tweeted it out. You're like, what could bring everybody together and put a nice big bow on this of happiness was a TJ Oshie hat trick. I think he had 2 at that point. That was obviously a very special moment. And RA, I don't know if you have anything written down about it, but this was his first game back after his father had passed. And I would imagine an extremely difficult thing to do to put the gear back on that soon. And obviously after he put the hat trick in, he kind of lost it. And his teammates, Backstrom came up and a post-game quote, he was saying he just looked like he needed a hug. So a very, very, very cool moment in the NHL this year that can't be forgotten in all this.
Yeah, his dad, Tim, of course, he died. He came out a few months back, said I think it was Alzheimer's / dementia. I know that they're pretty much the same thing. He had been suffering from it for a while, and he did pass away. TJ put the tweet out, and then for the hat trick, and then to see him on the bench. We've had a lot of very emotional moments in the game, particularly the last month, but especially the last week. And that was I don't know if I want to call it a bright spot given the way it transpired, but it was a little bit of a yang to all the negative yin with all the violence. So it was a nice moment to see at the end of the day.
They called him coach too. I had the chance to meet him once, but I played with Taylor Chorney, who's really tight with Ocean. Said this guy was the man, just like the best person. He's always around, coached him forever, and so the feelings that anyone who's played or any sport and what your dad or mom's done for you, to see him get the hat trick and then just get that emotional, that was a legit tearjerker. I was really feeling for him, but happy to see that game go that well for him. And that guy will be remembered forever by people who knew him because I've heard about him from many different.
There's plenty of stories I think that were written about this situation and when he'd won the Stanley Cup. There was a couple cool stories floating around
pictures
online.
too, I think.
Yeah, so if you guys get a chance, if you can go dig those up, there's some really cool stories behind it all.
So an adventuresome week down Manhattan. Yeah, like with the ironic part is the Rangers might even be in a better spot because they got Drury in position now, and they're probably paying them a lot cheaper than they were before. So, I mean, it sucked to go get embarrassed a little bit as a franchise, but they come out the other side smelling okay.
Billionaires are like, they don't give a shit.
No,
this is this fantasy hockey team. That's what it's like. That's like you log into your Yahoo account and just like, oh yeah, what's all this online drama? Okay, I'll axe the GM and president.
Make a
franchise mode.
All right. One other note before we move along: the Rangers extended the defenseman Ryan Lindgren to a 3-year, $9 million deal, a $3 million average annual value. And this is actually the perfect segue to let you know who our guest is going to be in a little bit. All-time scrapper, former Ranger, former Canadian, former Boston Bruin, Chris Knuckles Nilan's going to be joining us in a little while. Fantastic interview. I'm not going to say more than that. It's awesome. You guys are going to love it. We're going to get to that first. But, boys, I know we're going to be celebrating with Pink Whitney, but you want to be prepped for it.
DHM Detox. Little tag team ad read because this thing came in, and it's like, this got to be at least.
We'd be here till the second round starts if I didn't help you with this.
The hockey gods have graced us with the NHL playoffs, and that means meaningful hockey games every night. You might be knocking back a couple beers or sipping on the birdie juice, so you need to be ready to conquer your next morning and make it work without feeling useless. DHM Detox has got your back. It's your ultimate drinking buddy, and it is the vitamin for when you drink and celebrate. No more feeling like a bag of bricks the next day after boozing, Whit.
DHM Detox is here to help with liver support, help break down toxins, and get you feeling fresh the next morning. It's also perfect for bachelor parties or just some good old day drinking. Everyone loves that.
Yeah, time is your most valuable asset, Whit. So why waste another day? For just a few dollars per night, you can be prepared for all of life's moments. The team at No Days Wasted is here to help you and be your best and get back to doing what you love after a night of drinks. Whit.
So you just take 2 capsules, Biz, open them up, take 2, and after your first few drinks, they start going to work. double up with another packet if you're having one of those big nights. You know what I'm saying? A Biz in Vegas night.
Yeah, nose
DHM Detox is part of our drinking routine, as well as thousands of Chiclets listeners. So there's millions of people, maybe not millions, that said thousands of people driving around the roads right now listening to us talk nonsense that love DHM Detox. The packets are easy to share with friends and family.
They've got their recovery bundles with DHM Detox and Hydration Replenisher, an electrolyte drink mix that helps you hydrate and helps boost your immune system with vitamin C, D, and zinc. Check out the bundles for the ultimate recovery experience and never miss a beat. So you can hit the early morning meeting, workout, or just feel human the next day after a few drinks with.
DHM Detox is also 100% risk-free purchase on your first box. So if you don't love it, it's free. If you wake up still hungover, which won't happen, it's free. They'll refund you. This is a no-brainer. So at the very least, give it a shot. And if you don't like it, you get your money back.
Yeah, we're going to hit you guys with a promo code. Just head over to nodayswasted.co and use promo code BIZ20 for 20% off. That's nodayswasted.co for no days wasted after drinking with BIZ20.
I think you listening to me reading, that was phenomenal by you. I hate to give myself the credit for your good reading, but great job.
He just needed a reading buddy.
Training wheels.
He just needed someone there holding his hand.
All right, boys, let's move it right along. We kind of skipping the division to division stuff we've been doing because I don't know, some divisions are more exciting than others. And the players have been exciting us this week, in addition to some coaching moves. But first, Connor McDavid. Absolute spectacle he's been. He's got 100 points in just 53 games. The seventh player in NHL history to post 4+ career 100-point seasons before the age of 25. Gretzky, Howard-Chuck, Lemieux, Trottier, Ovechkin, Crosby. He had 69 points through 42 games. He got 31 in the next 11. I mean, we've been beating you guys over the head with stats for like the last month. What I think is entertaining as it is, we still want to see it in the playoffs.
Yeah, and of course, there's people like, oh, he's only in the North Division. If you think he wouldn't be doing this in other divisions, you're insane. I'm sorry, because this was some of the best hockey I've ever seen played in my life. The final 11 games or whatever it's been, the 31 points, I mean, that is a joke. I read this one tweet. It was on NHL Network, but the guy who sent it, Rob Pizzo, Connor McDavid's scoring race lead sits at 21 points with 3 games to go. Only 6 players have ever won by 20 or more points. Gretzky did it 8 times. Espo did it twice. Howe did it twice. Yager did it once. And Lemieux did it once, along with Orr one time. Not bad company. Bonus. Gretzky won his 10 titles by an average margin of 52 points. So that kind of shows how ridiculous that guy is. But another Edmonton legend, Connor McDavid. I also read people are like, oh man, he just, he doesn't have much pizzazz in the interviews. He seems to just downplay it so much. It's annoying. I wish he gave more. It's like, this is who he is, man. It's the Crosby playbook. It's about the team. And every time he was asked about it, he would talk about other guys. Draisaitl, who's, the 500 points already. And Darnell Nurse in the season he's had. And I mean, sorry, you can't get everything you want. The best player in the world isn't also going to be joking and laughing around every interview. He's a focused, driven animal of an athlete who is above everyone else's game by leaps and bounds. So being in the North Division, I don't really care. I don't, because what I watched this year was every single morning, if you couldn't stay up for the late game, is highlight reel goals or assists. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And before the year started, somebody said, imagine if McDavid got 100. People were reading. I'm sure some people called it. I didn't think that was possible. I know how good he is, but averaging about 2 points per game, that is heady shit.
Did you see for the stretch he had his contractor's name written on his knob there?
That's who made this happen. Yeah. The North Division team should blame that guy who started building him staircase wrong and wouldn't give him his money back.
He mentioned him in the press conference. Thank the D-men for just leaving it behind the
Jordan,
net, too.
It's like Jordan's Hall of Fame speech.
Thanks to all the D-men for just leaving it there on the breakout.
Whitney assist.
That's what you people want, a little bit more cocky McDavid. That would be fun.
Yeah. I mentioned how I said that he's this generation's Gretzky, and everyone's like, oh, he hasn't won yet. It's like, that's not what I'm saying. It's like he's the greatest player that we watched. I watched in my era as much as we could. That's what people get now. That was the only comparison. Everyone's like, oh, he hasn't won shit yet. It's like there's no fucking room for nuance on Twitter, man. It's like you have to beat people over the head with fucking words like fucking bricks. But anyways, a hell of an accomplishment. We wanted to acknowledge that. But moving along to Columbus, no surprise here. John Tortorella is all done as the team and the coach mutually agreed to part ways. I mean, his contract was up, so I don't know if mutually agreed is just something they say. They mutually agreed to say, so it doesn't look like he got fired or he left the team. Either way, Tortorella coached more games and had more wins and had the highest points percentage of any coach in franchise history. What was pretty cool in his last game, Dan Singleton is the video coach. He let him call the final pairs of D in the final game. Just something that, they don't usually let guys do. I thought that was a real nice gesture he did. The Blue Jackets still only have one series win in team history. They did get the 4 straight playoffs before this year, and they only had 2 before Tortorella. So this guy accomplished a lot. I think he did install a culture. The fact that guys didn't stay, I don't think he had much to do with that. The team we talked about last week plays hardball with a lot of guys. So Torts is gone. No shocker. Biz, what do you got on that?
Well, I thought the most interesting cap on it all, it's like obviously the players loved him. It seems like that's been the word coming out of there. Despite how hard he is on some guys, like the core group, the majority of that team loves him. So now that he's leaving, Seth Jones said, we're going to be the core group of guys have met, and I think they even met with Jarmo already. And he even said he's going to take some time to think about things, because it's kind of like, what's the identity of the team now? What coach is going to step in? They also asked about Laine. He kind of stayed neutral on that as far as Jarmo's concerned. So, hell of a run there. Obviously, extremely well respected. And I don't know. Do you think he's done, Whit? Do you think he's done coaching?
He says he's not. Well, I shouldn't say he's not. He wants to continue to coach. That's clear. You start hearing Buffalo, like he was an assistant coach there, I think early 90s. Hiring Torts it's an interesting decision, whoever does it, if it does happen, because historically you're going to get results. And yeah, there's going to be times when it's like guys are sick of him, and we've chatted about this millions of different occasions on which how he can get really tired of his act. But GMs, they got to also realize, like, it's the Torch show, and media go with the interviews and they want to get a quote, and he's willing to give them a quote, and he scratches stars, but he gets guys to play hard, and he always has. So I think he will coach again. Columbus is just such an odd scenario, because they finally had a little playoff success. Nobody wants to play there. All these guys keep leaving. Now you got Seth Jones 1 year, and then he's UFA. So July 1st, they could start trying to re-sign him. It's like, if you lose him too.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. You think Werenski's going to come back?
Yeah. And then like everyone says, like, oh, and it's true. They got 3 first-rounders this summer. But it's like, if these guys hit, do they want to stay? Something needs to happen where, for some reason, guys want to sign their UFA deals there, and it hasn't. And so...
And Whit, like, just to hop in quickly, like, remember, like, Werenski at the time probably wanted a nice, comfortable deal, and then they nickel and dimed them. And what were the comments? I think Tort said something basically like, "Well, I better sign or something." And then the next day, he signed 2 years at $5 a year. So it's like, I think this sticks in the back of these guys' mind, where we talk about these hardball negotiations for contracts. It's like, listen, man, when you got the pieces, lock them in there, because the minute they have a chance to leave, it seems they're doing it.
Yeah.
Yep. Like that. Yeah. Go ahead.
You got to shout out their fan base, though, because it's gotten pretty legit.
Yep.
They love that team. It's just, where do they go from here? Who do they end up hiring? And can they convince guys to stay? This whole thing can change if Seth Jones signs a monster deal. Give him 8 years, $100 million. I don't care. What's that, 12 a year? How's my math on that? Not right. What's that?
A little 12 and change, I think.
Yeah. So, right?
And to go back to the team's big success when they ended up knocking off Tampa Bay, like, at the end of the day, a small market team, they got their group of guys to buy in, and the fans got to enjoy that. And, I'm sure that's a pretty cool memory for a lot of those guys that were in that locker room that achieved that. So it's all now, majority of those guys are going to be gone. So hopefully they can rebuild soon enough.
Yeah, Columbus, they were in the thick of it on March 20th, 13, 12, and 7. And then they won just 2 of their next 18 games, pretty much piss away any chance of the playoffs. And yeah, Tortorella, according to Elliot Friedman, he's going to be 63 in June, but he's not retiring. He still wants to coach. So see what happens there. And Seth Jones, he did say the leadership group was going to sit down with Yamo B there to talk about the whole situation in the room, whatever. And as far as his personal situation, Jones said, quote, that very well could be here. So I don't think he's ruling anything out. He's still got another year left after this. Well, this season just ended for him, but he's got one more year before he goes unrestricted.
Yeah, I hope I didn't come off as if saying like to be like hyperbolic about it, as if he's saying he wants to get out of there. I thought he said he was going to take a step back and just like kind of digest everything as to like what he's seeing in the future of the team. And like when you're a big piece, guys, like and the thing about the hockey culture too is like I think there's this element to like guys want to win the cup. They want one. And I think that they'd much rather leave, especially a guy like Seth Jones. I don't think he cares if he leaves 5 or maybe 10 million over a long deal. If he could be somewhere where he's winning and he's happy and has a chance at the greatest prize. Yeah. Right, Whit? Is that a fair statement with most guys? I mean, some guys don't think like that, but I would say majority of guys do to a certain degree. Hockey has that type of.
Yeah, I mean, you see UFAs that can sign with anyone, sign with really good teams because they'll leave some money on the table to go chase one. And I think that's the same in every sport. But I know what you're saying in terms of hockey. I just think if they can get him locked up, it's a game changer for that entire organization.
Yeah, basically immortality or an extra 2 sheets a year. It's, whatever you're comfortable with, I suppose. One other note from Columbus, goalie Elvis Merzlikins, alumni of the show. He had a little routine he used to do at Nick Foligno where they would kind of jump up and do that, jump and bump thing that you see in sports. Of course, Nick Foligno got traded to Toronto, so Elvis did it by himself. He just kind of jumped and did an imaginary bump.
Moment. The Rangers should have done that with their week, just to jump up to nobody. But
I thought it had a nice little ending. A little girl named Jocelyn came to the next game and had a sign that said, "Hey Elvis, I'm available for post-game hugs." And he came over and he kind of jumped up and hugged the glass for her. And I don't know if you guys saw the picture. It was just the sweetest little picture, the gesture that he made too, and stuff like that goes such a long way with fans. So, it was sad to see him do the solo jump, but it was nice. He got to kind of have a little reciprocation from a young fan. So pretty sweet picture. Yeah. Biz, you already mentioned Tocchet's not going to be back after 4 years in Arizona. Another team that had a rough going down the stretch. They lost 12 of the last 15. And, like you said, we got to imagine he's going to end up somewhere. Whit, did you want to add anything on to Tocchet? Not towards.
No, I just wanted to add that goal by Garland was one of the nastiest goals.
Nasty.
I didn't realize right away seeing it. I thought he just cut in front and tucked it. I was like, wait a minute. What? Once you see the replay, he flipped it up to himself on his backhand, the perfect height and the perfect space, and knocked it in on a midair, going full tilt, taking a D-man wide.
Yeah, he sauced it.
Who knows what would have happened if he didn't get hurt?
He sauced it to his backhand and batted it out of the air. Yeah, it was actually pretty filthy.
How about Carlson to Phil?
Oh yeah, that was like a Datsuk. That was a Datsuk put Couture in a blender type moment. Yeah, you got him with the whoa.
Bill's like,
drop the shorts. So regarding talk, rumblings online and potentially Seattle. I've also heard rumblings that Francis is trying to get Brindamore over there, and they're offering him like a pretty hefty deal. But yeah. I'm assuming Carolina is going to try and lock him up. Now the owner in Carolina is a little bit cheap. I don't imagine in this situation he will be, because that's kind of like a cornerstone to running the team, maybe just as much as a GM. But Ron Francis is to credit for a lot of the work that's been done there as far as the players they have in their lineup. Like, he knows how to build a team, and you'd imagine he'd want to do it with his guy, Rob Brindamore. And if he doesn't end up going over there, I could see talk landing in Seattle. Him and Francis, I think they won a cup together in Pittsburgh, didn't they? Couple?
No, in Carolina, the 2006 is where Brindamore and Francis won it together.
Yeah,
my bad. I'm sorry.
They both did all right. They both did. No worries. Yeah, I think.
Did they win a cup together?
To talk it,
or they play. At least they played together. I know that.
Yeah, I'd have to double check as I forget the dates of all those trades. I'm not sure what the connective tissue.
So there's a lot of connections there, and I'm not trying to start rumors. I'm just saying it makes a lot of sense. Like Tockett's a very experienced coach. I just think the Coyotes are very young, and I don't think that they have the pieces in order to compete. So I don't know what was the conversation behind the scenes, but as I said earlier at the start of the show, I think he's moving on to bigger and better things.
They did win one together, Biz. You're right.
They did 92. In Pittsburgh. Okay,
just the one. Okay. Carolina letting Brenda Moore and all those people walked out. I mean, they would basically be rebooting their franchise. That would be a terrible move, I think. Just spend the fucking money. Keep that.
Yeah, but what if Seattle offers them the fucking bag? What if they get
did we talk about this last week or no?
I don't know.
Not Seattle specifically, just about Brind'Amour. Oh, yeah, because you guys laughed at me when I said he didn't make that much money. Brind'Amour didn't make more than $600,000 until 1993.
Yeah, but he made $50 million in his career. That has nothing to do with it.
Right. I wasn't arguing in his career. I was saying early in his career, he didn't get paid shit. I was never saying he didn't get paid for the.
I thought you said that. I thought it was that he was going to want money coaching because he didn't make a lot playing. Not
necessarily that he didn't make a lot playing. He wasn't asking for money coaching because he didn't get paid as a player. I'm saying he didn't make as much as a player as people think, and he didn't make $600K until like 5, 6, if not 10 years into his career. That's all. Someone tagged me in the tweet, basically backing me up, so I gotta fucking use it.
Okay.
Cut me some slack.
Take a sip of that beer. Take a sip of that beer. Take a sip of that beer right now. Yeah, boy.
Tommy sticks with yourself.
All right, boys, bouncing around the league here. This is a great story. We actually kind of teased before the end of our last episode. An old teammate of both you guys, Michael Hauser, he got his first NHL start at 28 years old. He hadn't played in a game since March. He had one AHL start a couple of years back. He goes out and he gets a win in his first NHL game. Just, again, the biggest story of the year up until the Rangers and fucking Capitals kerfluffle last week, but Biz, you caught the game. What were you going through, man? You play with this guy. Just an awesome story.
Yeah, man. Doogie's kicking, and then there was a GIF going around online of him doing the splits. I think you ended up sending it back out, Grinelli. And this guy, hey, he looks comfortable in there. He's living in the moment. I shot him a text and congratulated him. I said, "We'd love to get you on the podcast." And he's like, absolutely. He goes, "Let me just dial it into the end of the season." And I'm like, fucking right.
What buddy. A pro.
What a pro. But he's like, "Hey, man, between playing and putting in my gambling picks, I just got no time right now. And I'm actually hedging my bet and gambling on myself." He's probably putting the NHL paychecks on himself right now.
I can't wait to talk to him. It's been such a cool story.
Yeah. He won the first. We beat the Islanders first outright. Then he beat them in a shootout. Then he kind of fell back to earth a little bit. Got hung out to dry for 8 versus Pittsburgh. Then bounced back. Gave up 1 goal to Pittsburgh. His next game he did lose, but he's 2-2 so far. Regardless of what his record is, it's just a great story. Like you said, we talked about his childhood and 14 surgeries, I think, on his feet before he was 2 years old, and just such a positive spirit. Just a great story. But then conversely, we have the other side of the Buffalo.
Hey, we got to take that up with Sid. That's a little fucking gutless going 8 on Doogie like that. Yeah. How many did Carter? He probably 4. Got lost in Carter's eyes. He's fucking humming out there right now with the Penguins.
He's got 9 goals in 14 games, and the Pittsburgh Penguins could win another Stanley Cup.
Not a big deal.
We'll keep our eyes posted for that.
Look out for Sid going to Colorado.
All right, is that you saying you don't think there's a chance they win the cup?
Oh, no, not at all. No, I think, Pittsburgh, I'm hoping the Bruins don't play them first round. They're looking like a pretty big wagon right now. I'm hoping the Bruins end up at Washington. I'm not scared. Yeah, I'm not scared of their goaltending.
Well, what's funny is historically the Bruins pound the Penguins, and the Washington Capitals really give them some issues. So that's surprising to hear.
They don't have
fuck about history.
They don't have Braden Holtby this year, buddy. They don't have Braden Holtby at all this year. So therein lies the difference.
Suck on that, Whit.
I ain't sucking on anything.
You thought we were done with the Buffalo Sabres. Well, think again.
Oh, my God. This team has provided us. I would say they are crown champions despite a late push by New York Rangers.
Content kings.
Although we did have the fucking D'Angelo stuff at the start of the year. So I would say, though, the content kings of the season are the Buffalo Sabres, 100%.
Absolutely. We just talked the great story about Michael Hauser. Well, on the other side of the spectrum, Jack Eichel had his year-end meeting with the media. What's today? Monday. He said, quote, "There's been a bit of a disconnect from the organization myself. It's been tough at times. Right now, I think for me, the most important thing is just trying to get healthy and figure out a way to be available to play hockey next year, wherever that may be. Eichel, 24, said he prefers to have surgery on his herniated disc, but suggested the team is considering other courses of treatment. When asked if he has the final say on treatment methods, he added that the Sabres are included in the decision. Again, quote, he said, "It doesn't work like that. I wish I'm under contract with this team, and they definitely hold a lot of cards on what I can and can't do." This is from John Vogel, who's the Sabres beat writer at The Athletic. He bluntly says today, Buffalo will need a new captain. The bridge between Eichel and the Sabres is engulfed in flames, and it's hard to imagine it'll be salvaged. Eichel has been a fitness freak since his teen years, and he's furious the team is telling him what he can and can't do with his body. The trust is shattered, and that's just one angle. Add in 6 seasons without a sniff of the playoffs, and Eichel is clearly ready to move on. He's as good as gone. Again, that's from John Vogel, Sabres beat writer. He's not really a dramatist with this stuff. He's pretty wired in. So, what's your take on this latest development out of Buffalo?
Good for him. Good for him to get out of there. I'm sorry, Sabres fans. I have no ill will against you. I am close friends with Jack Eichel. I'll say that. I've always said that I'm not a not biased person. I'm happy for him. He needs to go somewhere else. And this final straw and this final instance of the injury and basically them not wanting him to get surgery and to continue playing and then get surgery at the end of the year, in which he'd probably not be ready for the start of the year, or him saying, we ain't doing anything this year. I want to get surgery. I know what I need with my body. That's why in the PA, we have the ability to get second opinions, and I want to be ready for the next season. And he went with that. And to understand as an athlete and as a player, to have your employers wanting you to do what you think's unfit for your own body and your own health, that can drive a wedge between a player and a team that, like that guy wrote, will never be fixed. And I mean, this isn't for lack of effort. It's like he's been there 6 years. They haven't sniffed the playoffs. Nothing's gone right. How many head coaches has he had?
A lot.
44.
What?
44. No, I said
44. Exactly. It's like when you're that good and you have the ability to basically at some point say, hey, get me out of here, what are you going to do? Hold on to him? It makes no sense. So I think that he's just probably deep down looking forward to being somewhere else and giving his career what will feel like a restart.
Yeah, I feel like this injury in this situation couldn't possibly have happened at a worse time. And it just is kind of like, okay, done. I'm done with it all. I need to hit a reset button here. I think he's kind of earned that right as a player. And I could, as much as I want to see, Buffalo has made this strong financial commitment to this person. When it comes to one's body, that's where I can't really side with someone else thinking they can make the decisions, where that's my opinion. And I agree with everything you said, Whit.
He also has 5 more years left at $10 million per. Also worth noting, his no move clause does not kick in until after next season. So if Buffalo were to trade him, he has no say in where he might potentially go. They could send him anywhere.
Well, that helps Buffalo.
Oh, absolutely. He'll get more suitors. And I mean, obviously the Rangers are hot for teacher when it comes to him. They'd love to get him. And, I would say the possibility of a 3-team trade is something that maybe.
What about the Kings? Why wouldn't the Kings go after him?
They might.
That's a very good answer. But look at it this way, RA, like in today's cap era, that is a strong commitment. So even if a team, obviously it opens up the horizon as to which team. I don't think anybody's picking him up if he ain't telling them, listen, I'm committed to this. This is what I want. And where that kind of narrows the gap too. Like he might give it the minute ball to Edmonton where he's like, yeah, you can trade for me, but I might not be showing up. But, I think you'll more than likely end up somewhere where he wants.
What's each of you guys' final prediction as to where he plays opening night next season?
That's a great.
I like LA. LA. Imagine if LA has him and Kopitar as their top 2 centers, they're making the playoffs next year.
I'm sticking with Manhattan. I think he ends
I'm
up.
I'm gonna camp out on his front lawn until he signs with or ask for a trade to the Coyotes.
Well, it's like Drury's agent when he played, is Eichel's agent. So who knows? There's some, and I think he's Quinny's agent too. Peter Fish, what a legend.
The BU connection too. There's the BU connection in New York.
Oh my God. Okay, New York's my answer.
By the way, I said the island. I wasn't referring to Long Island. I mean the island of Manhattan, just to clarify. Okay. Yeah. No, I think he ends up with the Rangers after all is said and done. So either way, high drama with Buffalo. But all right. Hey, guys, we got some big news. Your favorite men's healthcare brand, Roman, is now available at Walmart. Roman's non-prescription products have got you covered with everything from sexual health to everyday health. Your well-being is important, like we were just saying, and taking care of it should be simple. So now you can add to the cart in real life. Roman, now available at Walmart. We're in your area, so let's go take care of it. Roman condoms are new and exclusive to Walmart. You won't find them anywhere else. They're designed ultra-thin, lubricated for pleasure, and FDA cleared because safe is sexy. Of course, my old pals, the Roman swipes, they're an easy, discreet way to delay ejaculation and increase sexual stamina. Good way to reboot the system. They're fast-acting, and your partner will enjoy them too. There's no passed-along desensitization if you use them as intended. The doctor formulated with 23 nutrients. Roman Daily is a multivitamin that is optimized with ingredients to support men's health and overall well-being. Roman's team of in-house doctors created this unique, high-quality supplement to target nutrition gaps in men with scientifically backed ingredients and dosages. But remember, supplements are not to replace a healthy diet, exercise, and good sleep. Still got to eat your greens and get your steps in, do all that good stuff. So visit your local Walmart store today and check out Roman's line of men's healthcare products. Good stuff. Check it out at your local Walmart. And now we're going to send it over to Chris Knuckles Nilan, an absolute legend of the game. I grew up watching him. Hell of a guy, hell of an interview. We're going to send it over to him now. Enjoy, Chris Nilan. Well, it's been a long time coming getting this character on the show. A Boston native, this right wing was taken by Montreal in the 19th round of the 1978 draft. He played 13 NHL seasons for the Canadiens, Rangers, and Bruins, and was one of the most prolific fighters of his era. He still holds the record for most penalties in a game with 10, and his 3,043 penalty minutes is good for 9th all-time, and he has the most by a U.S.-born player. He was also selected to play in the 1991 All-Star Game, and of course, he won the Stanley Cup with the 1986 Montreal Canadiens. It's our pleasure to finally welcome to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Chris Nilan. How the hell are you, Nux?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Like I said, it's about fucking time.
Yeah, I shined up that resume pretty good for you, at least, anyways.
Yeah, you did.
Did you include the Canada Cup?
You Google my name or something?
Yeah, they taught me how to Google. Yeah. First off, man, we want to get your take right away. Last week, the Tom Wilson shit was all the talk of the NHL, the way the Rangers reacted to it. I know you do a radio show up in Montreal, but not everybody that listens to us listens to that. What was your take on everything that went down?
You know, listen, it happens all the time in the NHL scrums. Honestly, I don't think what happened to Buchnevich was that bad. He punched him in the back of the shoulder. He kind of gave him a little mush. And I can't believe he got $5,000 fine for that. I thought the worst thing was to poor Panarin. He got ragdolled so bad. And my whole thing was, listen, Wilson's a tough kid. I get it. But when he saw his Panarin, he should have kind of chilled a little bit. I think he took it too far. Can you imagine if that kid split his head open and
that was...
really got hurt bad? That's what I worried about when I saw it. Listen, I like Wilson as a... Go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Because I thought that, and it was so scary. I said, thank God he didn't hit his head. But when you say Wilson should have let up, and you had your moments of anger and rage, is it that easy? When you see a guy, was it for you that easy? If you saw a guy, you could just pound that you'd be able to stop it that quick? Even if he jumped on your back?
Listen, I never had an incident where I did something like that to one of the better players, if you will. I did have one incident with Middleton where I was... What are you laughing at? Where I was...
Because he bought the NFL.
I was also laughing because I'm sure there was no skill guys jumping on your fucking back, Knuckles. There was one guy they weren't jumping on. It was you.
But I ended up hitting Middleton, and I hit him with the back of my glove. They said I butt-ended him, okay? And I didn't. I hit him with the back of my glove, and I got him right in the mouth, and he knocked I knocked his plate through his lip and cut him. And believe me, It's the one thing that I regret in my career, the one thing. Not to mention that every other fucking idiot the Bruins had in the minor leagues got called up after that, and I had to fight every one of them. So I brought all that shit on myself. But, yeah, honestly, I think he could have, well, maybe not Tom Wilson, but I think he could have let up on he could have grabbed him around the head and just hugged him. I didn't think he had to do what he did. And listen, I like Wilson as a player, like I said, but the one thing I don't like about him is when he was in Vegas and Reeves wanted to fight him. And he didn't, I ain't fighting you. Like he's going to he's going to waste the time sitting in the box for 5 minutes if he fights Reeves. That pissed me off. If you're going to be a tough guy and the guy's calling you on, you got to fight him. You can't say, I'm not going to fight you because I'm a good player now. Didn't like it.
Can't have it both ways is what you're saying, eh, Knuckles?
Yeah. I didn't
if you're going to play that role, you should have to answer the bell to the highest of extremes. And I think Reeves is probably, I would say it's fair to call him the top dog right now. I can't think of any. Who else would be the equivalent right now if you could think of anyone else?
Big Z.
Could Maroon fight him? Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm sure Maroon.
I think Maroon would, but he's not dying to.
Go with him. I'm not saying they beat him, but those are some guys.
Nux, can you remember anything like this where there's been such a ripple effect? Of course, the Wilson incident happens. Then the Rangers, so I should say the Rangers owner comes out with that ludicrous statement, which his GM and president obviously didn't like. He ends up firing them to bring in another guy. And then Buchnevich gets suspended. It's just this whole kind of all this shit rolled downhill. Do you remember anything like this before? To this extent where GMs got fired?
No, nothing like that. And again, I can certainly see how JD didn't like that statement and probably voiced that, and that's why he lost his job. And I kind of like a guy who stays true to himself and to his team. That owner's a little bit of a whack job anyway.
Aren't we all, Knuckles?
That's putting it nicely.
Knuckles, imagine if we had $1 billion in the bank, the silly shit that we'd be doing.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be here right now.
Oh man. Hey, but Knuckles, obviously we wanted to get your opinion on that, but the main reason we had you come by is we want to talk about your incredible career. And I obviously did a bit of studying and going all the way back. I didn't realize when you grew up your father was a Green Beret, correct?
Yeah, my dad was a Green Beret, and Christ, I think he stayed until he was 50 years old. He stayed in the reserves for quite a while. The end. But yeah, my dad, jungle expert, jump out of planes. He had a couple good Charlestown friends, the Fitzgerald brothers, that he used to run with a little bit. And my dad's a tough bastard, no doubt.
Now, you're also a city kid like myself. Grew up in West Roxbury, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Now, you went to Catholic Memorial. Did you do all 4 years there at high school?
Yeah, I got through all 4 years.
I didn't graduate. What priest dragged you through there? That sounds bad, but I didn't mean it that way.
No, I went to CM. I did my 4 years there. I went to 1 year prep school up in Northwood School in Lake Placid. Then I went to Northeastern.
I was just going to say an amazing stat. I'm pretty sure your last year at college, you averaged 3.5 penalty minutes per game. Biz, there's no fighting in college. I don't know how you met. Was that just roughings after whistle stuff? You got to give me the breakdown of that season.
There were a lot of elbows, a lot of roughing. I ended up in a fight up in Colgate where I ended up cracking someone, a kid named Larry Gibson. And I hit him with my glove on, and we had a riot up at Colgate. They ended up canceling the game. We almost didn't get out of town at Colgate. And Mike Milbury's alma mater. But, a lot of minor penalties, but there was one fighting.
Knuckles, going back, I thought it was even crazier the 2 years before that. I think you played 20 games each year. You didn't register one penalty minute. So what? Were you in a role where you had to remain disciplined, and if you took a stupid penalty, you get benched?
Where'd you see that?
I saw that on Hockey DB, and I thought that was crazy that you didn't have one penalty minute your first 2 years of college. Now, you better talk to Hockey.
You know why? because my first 2 years, I ended up getting hurt. My first year, I broke my hand in a fight off the ice. And then my second year, I got in a fight with a couple guys. I almost got my finger bit off. I ended up in the hospital. I almost got my finger amputated.
Knuckles, that's another off-ice incident, correct?
Yeah, another one.
That's sophomore year, Biz.
I'm actually surprised, like given the fact that your father was a Green Beret, was there, I would assume there was a certain amount of discipline in the household. Did you end up getting in bar fights? Was that just kind of like a regular occurrence?
Well, on the street, different stuff in the street, kids, neighborhood stuff. But my father certainly was a disciplined guy, but come on, Biz, I bucked the system.
Fair enough, my friend. That's unbelievable.
Next, now you went to Northeastern. Was anybody else offering you, or was that your only one, or what? How'd you end up so
my
close to home?
My only one.
Really?
Here's the deal. Judge King, Paul King, his brother used to be the governor of the state, Ed King. And the judge was my hockey coach. Judge King helped me get into Northwood School up in Lake Placid. And he asked me to do a couple things. He said, go up there and do good in school, stay out of trouble, and, play hockey. Boom, I did it.
I can give you one of them.
Yeah, my one. And I did well in school, and I did well in hockey. And anyway, he had Fernie Flamin come and see me. He was friends with Fernie. And Fernie ended up giving me a scholarship because of the judge. And then when I was at Northeastern, the judge, Judge King, did the same thing. He went to Montreal. He was good friends with Dickie Moore and Doug Harvey, two Hall of Famers with the Canadians. And Doug was a scout with the Canadians. And the judge asked Doug if he could get the Canadians just to draft me. And that's why I got drafted in the 19th round. Because I would have never got drafted if it was left up to the scouts. It was a favor to Judge King.
Unbelievable.
Imagine?
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I want to ask you about
different, and that's different when some people are happy they don't get drafted because they can choose their team. I mean, you were a guy who you were going to need to get a shot maybe through the draft, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Honest to God, and I didn't know right away. I didn't find out until after my career that the judge was responsible for that. Doug Harvey and Dickie Moore. Well, actually, Dickie told me at the judge's funeral. I met him. He came down from Montreal to it, and afterwards we went out and had a bite to eat. And he told me the whole story, how the judge came to him and Doug and asked if the Canadians would do me a favor. But he never wanted me to know. He wanted to think that, he wanted to make me think that, they'd come and found me, in the 19th round.
All right, it was like the college admission scandal, just his way to get into the show.
Hey, what was your initial reaction? I mean, growing up a Bruins fan, you idolized Bobby Orr. All of a sudden, you're getting drafted by the most hated team based on the franchise you adored growing up.
Yeah. Listen, I was so happy to get drafted. I actually was at the Cask and Flagon over at Northeastern with Mike Sanford, and we're in there drinking, and somebody come up and said, "Hey, you got drafted by." I said, "No way!" I couldn't believe it. He said, "No, you did. You got drafted by the Canadians." So we ran back in. We watched. They turned the station on the other TV, and sure enough, I got drafted. I couldn't believe it. Canadians, 17th round. I was happier than a pig in shit. And it's funny. I always wanted to be a Boston Bruin, and growing up, that was my thing. And getting drafted by them and going to training camp that year was like, it was difficult. One, I was a little bit in awe. I hated Lafleur and I hated Savard and Lapointe because, every year they beat the Bees. And next thing, I'm out there on the ice in training camp with them, and it went okay. I didn't fight. I ran around. I played physical and stuff like that. But I get sent to Nova Scotia that first year. But the funny story, we were at the Boston Garden. I was with a friend of mine, Franny Flaherty, kid from South Boston. And we went over, and the Habs were playing the Bees in the playoffs in 78, 79. So we went over, watched the practice, and we come out, we jump in Franny's Thunderbird. And we pull around the front of the Boston Garden. There's Lafleur, Lupien, and Lemire. So Franny says, why don't we ask them, we'll give them a ride to the hotel. So I'm there, yeah, whatever. So Franny pulls up in the Thunderbird, rolls the window down, right? They all got Stanley Cup rings on. Franny goes, hey, you want to ride the hotel? They're like looking at us going, fuck, should we get in? So they're with Loopy, right? So they hop in, they get in the back, and Lafleur, he lights up a butt right away. He's nervous in the back. And so I'm going, I go, yeah, we're going to go to the game tonight, blah, blah, blah. I said, next year I'm coming up there. I'm gonna play with you guys. I'm going to be at training camp next year. So Lemire goes, he looks at me, he goes, oh, yeah? He said, how are you going to do that? And I said, well, I got drafted by you guys. I was all excited to tell him I was drafted, right? So Lemire goes, really? Where do you play? I said, I play at Northeastern right here in Boston. He says, what round were you drafted? I said, the 19th. The three of them started laughing their balls off. And I'm like, what are they laughing at? I got fucking drafted.
They're like, we didn't know there was
have fun in Nova Scotia.
Oh, it was hilarious. And it's funny. I came to camp next year, and I'm in the locker room, and that was back in the day you play, all you do is scrimmage, right? And I'm on the same team as Lafleur. And he's looking at me, and I'm doing my skates up, and he's looking over, and he's looking, he goes, Tabarnak. He said, it's you, the kid from Boston. I said, I told you I was going to fucking be here. I told you. Then I get out in the ice, and who do I line up against? Loopy. With a face-off in the offensive zone, and Loopy's looking at me, right? And he's like 6'5", huge. And he's staring at me, and I'm going, I'm going to have to fucking fight him. And before the puck drops, he looks at me, he goes, Tabarnak, it's you, the kid from Boston. I said, I told you I was fucking going to be here. And then the end of the season, Lemire was away. He went to Switzerland that year. He retired, but he went to Switzerland. And the end of the year, we used to go for lunch every day across the street. And it was like March. Their season was over, and he'd come back, and we're sitting there, and he's talking to Larry Robinson, and I'm having lunch, and Lemire says to Larry, he says, hey, who's the kid in Ireland? The new kid is doing all the fighting. And Larry says, he's right here. You want to meet him? Yeah. So Jacques, Chris Island, hey, Jacques, how are you? How's it going? He goes, Tabarnak, it's you, the kid from Boston. I said, I told you I was going to be here. The three of them. It was hilarious because they all recognized me from that one day in the car, and it was just funny. They all said the same thing. Tabarnak, it's you, the kid from Boston.
You made that.
It was pretty funny.
You made that impression on him. So you mentioned that you didn't fight in that first training camp. Is that the case?
Yeah, I didn't.
So you ended up getting sent down to Nova Scotia, and in the book you released, one of the people said that when you were in Nova Scotia, there was no more takers in the American League after you'd spent your little time there. I think you played like a little over half a season. And had you ran through the entire all the tough guys in the league?
Yeah, listen, it's funny. I had a 5-game tryout. I didn't have an agent, and my first game I played in Maine was Philly's farm team. And I ended up fighting Glenn Cochran that game. We both got kicked out after the fight, but I cut him open. I cut him pretty good. And the next day, I'm in at the hotel, and Bert Templeton calls me. He says, hey, Chris, you have an agent? I'm there. No, I don't have an agent. Why? He said, well, the Canadians called me this morning. They want to sign you a contract. You don't have an agent? I said, I don't have an agent. He said, well, they want to sign you a contract. That one fight they signed me. And I signed that next week. And then in 49 games, I mean, I fought every night. It was crazy. Like, it was nuts. Like, every night I fought.
So was that your first experience on ice, like getting in a scrap of that magnitude? And then all of a sudden you kind of had that
one fight at Colgate. That was it. And, it was really the first time I ever fought was – I figured how hard could it be? I could fight in the street. You put a pair of skates on. If you can stand up, you should be able to go.
In the 73 in Faneuil Hall, too.
Yeah.
So that's wild. So obviously a big reason as to why, like, you didn't even spend much time in the minors. You end up getting called up, and the rest is history. So basically that one scrap kind of turned your fortunes around like pretty crazy.
Well, it gave me the contract, which, you know, when you in the scheme of things, at the time it was a big deal for me. But in the 49 games, like I had 304 minutes of penalties, but I had 15 goals and 10 assists. And it's weird. Like, I didn't realize it, but Montreal had a scout down there watching me almost every game. And I didn't know that. They had somebody there watching me every game. And I always could play the game, you know, decent. Obviously no superstar, but I could play. I would have had a hard time doing that job if I didn't play. I couldn't have sat in the bench and, you know, got the tap. I couldn't have done it.
Chris, your first 15 games with the 79-80 Canadians. Now, that's a team, they're looking for their 5th straight cup, 7 Hockey Hall of Famers on it. There's no way you went in there and kept your mouth shut around all these guys. What was it like getting in there for you?
When I first went in, I wasn't shy, but, you know, I knew my place. You know, you didn't come in and start popping off right away, you know. You got to make your way. And that's what I did. Once I started making my way and I got some respect of my teammates, I was a little more vocal in the room, but, you know.
Who were your running partners? Your rookie year? Who did you run around with? I know Chelios didn't come till a couple years later, but, I mean, it's Montreal. It's the early 80s. The country, the continent's still partying at a pretty good clip. Who are you running around with up there?
I ran with Doug Wickenheiser when he first came in. Wick came in 81. Rick Chartres when I first came, but Shoddy left soon after. He wasn't there too long. He played almost 2 years with me. And then I ran with Doug Wickenheiser for a little bit.
I was just going to ask, like, about Larry Robinson, because I remember my father talking about him as, like, the most complete defenseman. He was nasty. Offensively, he was great. But then you hear all these stories as a guy, what he's done for players when he's gone on to coach and as a teammate. Did you have experiences of hanging out with him, or was he more a quiet guy?
No, Larry, you know, again, he was one of the boys when we went on the road, but he was a little older at the time, you know. I come in, I was 21 or whatever, 20, and he, you know, well, he must have been 27 at the time. And to me, that was old. I'm thinking 27, but he'd been around a while. But Larry was, you know, he was like everybody's big brother, everybody's father, supported everybody. He was a great leader, awesome on the ice. And, yeah, he was cool. Your father's right on with that. I remember Larry came in the league, and I was still a Bruins fan. I remember they called him up, and he came. He played. I was at a game at the Garden. He scored 2 goals that game. He took it end to end. I'm there. Who the hell is this guy? Who's this guy they're getting now? They get all the best players, and ended up playing with him. Him and Gainey, 2 of probably the best leaders I ever played with. And then Larry, going on to coach. Guys absolutely loved Larry. He was so disarming. He was always there to help a teammate, and he has great knowledge of the game, especially being a defenseman. He was so good working with the younger players. He helped Chelly in a big way when he first came in the league, for sure.
You got to see a few younger guys come up. Patty Waugh, I think RA already mentioned that. But I want to ask about Claude Lemieux, and specifically, I think it was May 14th, 1987. You guys are in the conference finals in Game 6. Were you aware that he was shooting the puck in the net at the end of warm-up into the opposition net? And did you know that it was going to result into what it did?
No. And listen, I knew something was up, but I didn't pay attention to it. Him and Shane were doing this thing where they shoot the puck in the net. You know, they're like, that's going to fucking help us win the game. Way to go, guys. And then, I was aware because it was in the newspaper and people had started talking about it, but I didn't pay attention to it. I went back in the room when that happened, and I was just starting to undo my skates, and I'm sitting there, and someone come running in the room, one of the ushers, and said, there's a fight on the ice. And I'm like, what? So I tightened my skates real quick, and I went out. And go figure, I end up with, who else? Fucking Brownie with no shirt on, you know? And it's funny. I've talked to him since, and I said, God, I wish I thought of that, coming out with no shirt on. He said, I didn't think of it. He said, I had just I take my shirt off every period. He said, I just happen to have it off. I didn't bother putting it on. He said, I didn't think of it. I just ran out there. I guess I was giving him too much credit for being smart. But he, Claude and Shane, when they were out there, that big Samuelson come out, and he was like 6'7". He was like huge, but I didn't want to fight him. He was there at the time, and I was almost going to sucker him and just start it and say, screw this. But I didn't. I waited a little bit, and then everybody started coming out of the locker rooms, and it was like, forget about it then. And then once Brownie come out, I'm like, shit, how am I going to handle this one? Nothing to grab onto for leverage. And, he's a tough guy, but I picked my way through it. I got my way through that fight, all fucking 25 minutes of it, whatever it was. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's on YouTube for those of you who haven't seen it. So long story short, Claude Lemieux goes off the ice because at that point, the Flyers had said, if he shoots the puck in there, we're going to grab him. So Claude Lemieux leaves the ice. The Flyers kind of wait to see if he's going to come back. They finally leave. Well, Claude Lemieux comes running out as they're going down the tunnel, and they peek back around the corner. So they come flying out. Claude Lemieux slides it in the empty net. And next thing you know, everyone's outside the locker room onto the ice scrapping for 10, 15 minutes. So it's a pretty wild scene. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was nuts. And we had just had that big fight with the Nordiques too, right? That Good Friday thing. And that was freaking crazy. And then this one, I guess, they said the brawl to end all brawls. So kind of happy because, that was crazy shit being in a brawl. I don't mind fighting a guy, but you just never know in a brawl what's going to happen. You trip on something, and next thing you got some screwball fucking smashing your head on the ice or something. I didn't like the brawls.
But this was an era too, Chris, where they didn't suspend guys for that. Did anybody get suspended from that, or was it just a bunch of fines?
No, a bunch of fines. No suspensions.
Leaving the locker room with no
NHL.
shirt on. Nobody gets suspended. That's hilarious to think of in today's context.
Yeah.
We got to talk about, obviously, the Stanley Cup that year. Hartford took you guys to 7, but otherwise, you guys steamrolled every team you played. I mean, I looked at Patrick Waugh's regular season numbers that year. They weren't anything great. 3.35 goals against, 8.75 save percentage, which is below average for that year. What was the team's confidence level in him going into the playoffs? Did you think
we had a lot of confidence in him?
Really?
We had a lot of confidence in him. Listen, we were struggling as a team. I think the last 10 games, we lost 11 games. We lost 7 of them. We did not have a good record going into the playoffs. Jean Perron was the coach. Puddinghead. That was his nickname, Puddinghead. And this is where I talked about Larry and Bob Gainey. Those two really kept our team together. Like, you couldn't believe that Jean Perron was coaching a fucking NHL team. It was ridiculous. I've had my issues with coaches over the years, here and there, but I could not fucking believe this guy actually was our coach. And every time he came in the room and he'd go up on the board, he'd say, okay, like fucking 30 times in a minute. Everything was okay. Fucking nothing was okay. And guys would look at each other like, eh. And Bob Gainey, that's why I say Bob Gainey and Larry really kept our team together. We had a system in place that we played to a T as a group. And that year beat Boston 3 straight. We had a difficult time with Hartford. They had an unbelievable team, right? Some great players, Francis, Deneen, Samuelson on defense, Liu in the net. They had a really good hockey team, Babbage. And we went to that game 7. And I remember they scored with a minute left in the game. And they tied it. And I was like, whoa, man. I just didn't have a good feeling. And then we come out for that overtime period, and that's when Claude Lemieux took over and scored that big goal like Pepe. That year in the playoffs, the 2 of them. But to get back to Patrick, I'm sorry. We had confidence in Patrick, big time. And then it just grew in the playoffs. Once we got by Hartford, then we went to New York. It's unbelievable. He stood in his head in New York. One night he made like 62 saves or something in double overtime. And we ended up winning on an overtime goal by Lemieux. But Pepe Lemieux played big for us that year. They came 1-2 on the Conn Smythe. Patrick and then Claude second. But they were both big part of that team.
Back in that day, we're talking old-time hockey and these stories. Were you guys, after a home playoff win or road, were you going out that night for drinks and dinner, or was it playoffs you'd at least shut it down a little bit? Like, what was the scene in terms of after the games in that entire cup run, mid-'80s? Well,
we stayed – when we were at home, we went to the hotel. So we practiced that day. We had a game. We skate in the morning. We play that night and then go home. The next day, we get up, go to practice. And after practice, we go have a team meal. And then we'd stay at a hotel with the team. Yeah, we were at a place we called it Alcatraz. It was the island
like
of St. Helens. Yeah. We were staying at this hotel in the middle of nowhere. And, it wasn't that year, but the following year, we had a couple guys sneak out, and they were in a car with a couple of girls. They got in a car accident. And I wasn't one of them. But I was tempted to go out, and I'm glad I didn't that night. They put us in a place where they made you want to get out of there. But for the most part, guys followed the rules that year. We had one situation where guys didn't, and it was all over the newspaper the next day.
I want to talk about your goal scoring, Chris. I know you mentioned you had some games here, but you've got 16 goals, 21 goals, 19 goals in 3 consecutive years. Who were you playing with? Who was your centerman during those years where you were putting up such good numbers?
Carbonell. I played with Carbonell and Gainey those 3 years. Yeah. And 2 Hall of Famers. Cabo was a good offensive player in junior. He had 150 points or something his last year. And when he came to Montreal and Lemaire got a hold of him, because we had a couple offensive guys that were putting the puck in that, Bobby Smith, and Lemaire got a hold of him and said, listen, you got to play both ends of the rink. And he worked with him, and Cabo embraced that role and certainly went on and had an unbelievable career. But playing with him, it was a lot of fun. He's a good player, good playmaker. I always told him he had carte blanche. He could do anything he wanted on the ice. You want to, spit at people. You want to spear someone. You want to sucker someone. Just do it. I'll be there for you. But honestly, he never really took advantage of me that way, which was good.
Yeah, when I think of that era of that Canadians, I the first name that comes to me is Guy Lafleur. I know you had obviously Robinson, you had Kenny Dryden before you got there, but was Lafleur the best player on that team, regardless of position, when you were there?
Yeah, when I first got there, for sure. Yeah, no question about it. When I came that first year, Lemaire retired, Dryden retired, and Conway retired. That was their last year. And even if they were there, I'd have a hard time saying Guy wasn't the best player. But, he just come off of them 4 Stanley Cups in a row. He had an incredible run. And he was starting to get up there, as far as age. And that whole team was starting to break apart.
Was he ripping darts at the intermissions?
Yeah, he was ripping darts, and I was ripping them with him.
Get the lungs
it's
fired
bad.
up.
Like I didn't realize that. I'm in the NHL. Next thing, people are there smoking butts between period. I'm like, it's crazy. Like, we would go back in the trainer's room, Eddie Palchak, and my first year I'm there, and all of a sudden I smell smoke in the locker room. And what's that? And Flowers in the back room having a butt. And I ended up going, I'd sit in with him between periods and have I have a smoke and a Coke. He have a smoke and a Coke, and away we go.
If he was having a good game, would he ever treat himself on the bench? Maybe off to the side, just grab one, maybe fake it to tie the skates up. Hey,
never.
No.
Funny though. I used to go. I would be there 4 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game. He'd be there at 3 o'clock, and he'd eat 2 hot dogs, potato chips, have a coffee, smoke a couple butts. Every game.
Just go out there and do his thing. You talked earlier about Jean Perron. Now, RA mentioned one of those successful years you had as far as goal scoring. You had 19. He was the head coach that year. From what I'm understanding is there was a bit of a falling out between you and him, and that might be even one of the reasons why as to you left Montreal.
It was.
What was the big riff about, and what had happened, and why did it get so hostile?
Well, it was the year after we won the Cup, and we were going through another difficult time winning hockey games. And we were in Hartford, and well, actually, I got to go back. When he was an assistant coach with Lemaire, we were in a practice, and after practice, we're in the semicircle doing shots, taking shots. And he's standing in the corner passing the puck out. He came by me, he didn't pass me the puck. Went through the whole line, come back, I didn't get the puck. I'm there, hey, Jacques, I'm waving the stick, Johnny. Didn't pass me the puck. We go through the line again, and we get to me, and he finally passed it to me. So I took the puck. Now he's getting ready to pass another one, the next guy. I take the puck and I flip it. I'm at the far blue line. It goes, boom, right top of the head. He goes down. So everybody runs over and checks him out. I just grabbed another puck, shot it, and I went up to him. You okay? Yeah, no, I'm okay. Okay? He had 10 stitches, right? Cut his head open. Anyway, I'm in the room getting changed, and Lemaire comes in. He said, what the hell are you doing? I'm there, what do you mean, what am I doing? He said, you hit him in the head with a puck. I said, I didn't mean it. I just flipped it back. You think I meant to hit him in the head? I said, if I meant to hit him in the fucking head, put me on the power play. I said, I was at the far side of the blue line. I just flipped it. The thing took off. So can you apologize? So I went, I said, hey, Jean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. I was just flipping it, being a smart ass, Anyway, he went off and got stitches, 10 stitches. That's when he was an assistant. Then when, of course, he came, I don't know what he thought of me, to be honest with you, but I don't know what he thought of anybody because he was just a weird guy. And anyway, we're in Hartford, and he went around the room and started calling this guy out, that guy. And he came to me and he said, and Chris Nilan. when is the last time you had a fight? And I'm like, when's the last time I had a fight? Who are you to fucking talk about fighting? You know anything about fucking fighting? Fuck you. So that didn't go over too good. And we went to Buffalo, and I was in Buffalo, and I guess he called Serge and fucking cried to Serge, you know, that he couldn't control me and this and that. And now I was pretty close with Serge, really close, still am today. And Serge's best friend died that day, and I could swear if his friend didn't die, he probably wouldn't have traded me. But we're in Buffalo, and I went to morning skate, and I wasn't with my line. I had the fucking odd man out jersey. And I go back to the hotel room, and Jacques Leperrier calls me. He says, hey, Knuckle. I'm there, what's up, Jacques? He said, the coach, he want to talk to you. I said, hey, Lappy, you know I love you and I respect you, but if the fucking coach wants to talk to me, tell him to have some fucking balls and call me himself. So, okay. So he calls me and he said, Chris. And who's this? He said, it's the coach. And what's up? And he goes, I want to talk with you about your ice time. Can you come down my room? I'm there, sure. What is it? He gave me the room number. I come down there. The door's wide open. I walk in, and he's fucking looking at the floor. And he goes, Serge is on the phone. He want to talk with you. I'm there, okay. I get on the phone, and with Serge. He said, hey, big boy. I'm there, what's up? He said, I traded you. I said, no fucking way. You're shitting me. He said, no, I traded you. I said, where? He said, St. Louis. And I said, I ain't going to fucking St. Louis, Serge. See you later. And he goes, well, you'll have to. I said, I don't have to fucking do anything I don't want to do. I ain't going to St. Louis. I said, what the fuck you trading me for? He said, you have a problem with the coach. That's it. You put me in a bad spot. And anyway, he said, where you want to go? I said, I want to go to Boston. He said, I can't fucking do that. I ain't doing it. So I know I was in there before, and Phil always used to talk to me, Esposito, and I knew he wanted me in New York. So I said, call Phil and ask him if he wants to be with the Rangers, and kind of fell in Phil's lap. I ended up going to New York. He called Ron Carone. He said, listen, I'm going to trade Chris to New York. He doesn't want to go there, Ron. And so it was nice. He sent me where I wanted to go, but I was fucking devastated. I don't know how guys do it. I just don't. I was such a fucking loyal trooper to my teammates in that organization. It almost fucking broke me. Really did. I was fucking devastated.
I should have tried that when they traded me to Edmonton. Nope. I'd like to go to Dallas or Tampa. Thank you. Call me back later.
I would have just been surprised someone else wanted me.
Yeah, that's your first experience, and you're a guy who just did whatever it took for his team, his teammates, and then all of a sudden, boom, this is a business, you know? Must have been really hard. And winning a cup there, too, makes it even more difficult.
It sucked. Yeah, but I tell you, I couldn't believe it. I woke up in New York in the hotel. I was like, fuck, I can't believe I'm here. I just couldn't. I had a hard time getting over it. I loved playing for the Canadians. I really did. And I didn't want to play for another team. I didn't.
How long did it finally take you to get used to your new teammates? I mean, you ended up playing with Marcel Dion there, which must have been a very special thing. I know he was towards the end of his career, but still some good memories, I assume.
Yeah, I had great memories. Listen, I love the guys in New York. I had a lot of fun. And when I went to Boston, too, hockey guys are fucking great. Bottom line, hockey guys are just good guys. And it's just I had a hard time, not so much getting used to new teammates and playing. I just felt I felt such a loyalty to the organization for what they did for me and how much they helped me become a full-time NHL player. And I was so invested emotionally into that whole thing. It was really hard for me. But listen, I still did my job. I stuck up for my teammates. You know, I fucking went out there and fought every night for my teammates. The first game, I was in Philly. They put me in fucking Philadelphia. They had 5 fucking idiots on the ice. Berube, Chychrun, Kochner, Knockbauer, and Dave Brown. Fucking 5 of them. So like, take your fucking pick. Thank you. Like, nuts.
When you were with the Rangers, Guy Lafleur actually came out of retirement. I mean, he was 37. He was away from the game for 3 years. Were you shocked that he pulled that move?
Yeah, it's funny. Like Phil used to ask me, so, do you think he can score 20? I mean, yeah, he could score 20 fucking smoking a pack of Marlboros and Du Maurier's to boot. And he said, no, really. I mean, he can fucking score 20. Is that all you need from him? And Phil was like, okay, I'm going to get him. On my word. Fuck, he says, and he went and got him. Fucking, we want him. So he ended up getting Flower, and he came, and Flower absolutely loved it. Brian Leach was a rookie, and Granato that year. And they absolutely loved the idea they're playing with the Flower. He's smoking butts and fucking. He couldn't believe it either. He never played out of Quebec, right? Fuck, he walked around New York. No one knew who the fuck he was. He was having the time of his life for the first time in his life.
Yeah, not being under the microscope. Looking back on all the scraps, like, do you have some favorites of your own that you always look back on and appreciate? Do you have any guys that you remember that you had probably the biggest feud with? What are the ones that stand out to you?
You know, my first couple all the time, like my first time against the Bruins, I fought Jonathan O'Reilly. And O'Reilly, fuck, I knew he was a lefty, but I said, I'm going to fucking go. And I threw fucking 2 rights, and he come back, ba-ding. I couldn't, the fucking blood was pouring out of my head. I couldn't see. I remember, stayed on my feet, though, and John D'Amico was breaking up, and I remember I wiped my fucking nose up his sleeve, and he fucking snapped at me. Don't wipe your fucking blood on. I couldn't see. I just fucking wanted to get one eye open so I could see something. The prick. And he's yelling at me, don't fuck. I already took a fucking beating here. Fucking have a heart, will you, John? And so that, the very beginning, because that fight there changed things for me, right? Biz, I after that fight, I said, if I want to last in this league, I got to fucking fight smart. I can't just go there, all these guys that are bigger than me, and fucking swing away. Because I'm going to end up getting fucked up. I'm going to break my jaw, my nose. I'm going to look like fucking. I said, and then it's going to get more difficult. And then the more fights I lose, fucking closer to the door I am. So I kind of, after that fight, I vowed I'd never let that happen again. I didn't. And I started to fight smart. I fought the fight I wanted to fight. I would tie. People said, "Oh, I tie guys up." Fucking right, I did. You fight a guy 6'4", fucking 230. You're not gonna fucking tie him up. You're just gonna let him hang you out at the end of your arm. Fucking ridiculous. So I would fight smart. I get in tight on guys. I take their strength away. If they were a lefty, I take their left away, and try and throw my right. And then sometimes I let go and throw the stun gun, and then. Other times, if a guy's a lefty, I'd take that punch away. I throw uppercuts all the time. I'd switch hands.
I like the stun gun. I called it the jersey.
I had to.
That's a T-shirt possibility.
Yeah.
Stun gun.
I mean, moving away from the fighting, though, you had some other pretty memorable moments. I know probably one of the best goals you ever scored was a penalty shot at the Forum. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, it was incredible. That night, it was crazy. I always say that I felt like Gretzky on a bad night. I had 2 goals and 1 assist. I had 3 points. I was like, holy, and I was sick as a dog. It's funny how it works. I had a turtleneck on that game. I had the flu. I was sick as a, now fucking guys would be out 3 weeks with the fucking flu. But it was crazy. I end up getting a lot of people that, how the fuck did you get a penalty shot? I mean, I could skate fucking halfway decent, but Randy Carlisle hooked me and pulled me backwards. I got snuck inside of him. I end up with a penalty shot. And I remember Ludwig and Shelley, they're telling me, they're looking at me. I'm fucking nervous, right, as anything. And Shelley's going, dump it in. Fucking Ludwig, the two of them. And I remember Bob Gainey, he skated out to me. And this calmed me right down. He said, Knuckles, don't listen to fucking all them assholes on the bench. He said, do what you think is right. Just do what you think is right. And it fucking just took the heat right off me. So I went in, dropped my head, and pulled it to my backhand and threw it up. And Brian Haywood got traded to us 2 weeks later. He come in the room, walked in the room. I goes, what the fuck were you thinking? He goes, I was thinking, you dummy, you were going to come in and drop your head and shoot it right in my pads. But I didn't. It was fucking hilarious.
Hey, Knuckles, I just watched it. That might be where Thomas Buchanan got the whole turtleneck idea for the Montreal Canadiens.
100%.
I think so.
Nice move, though. Very nice. Night. Hey, little head fake. Go to the backhand, and you're going so fast. That's why just easy to go shelf.
Fucking right.
I was going
to peanut butter.
I was just going to hop in, ask about one more memorable thing. You didn't end up going to it, but the All-Star game. You got Mike Milbury picked you in 1991 to attend the All-Star game when he was your head coach of the Boston Bruins, but you didn't end up going because you were hurt, right?
I remember Mike that year, he's skating around, and he'd come up to me in practice and said, you're going to the All-Star game. I'm getting a pick this year. You're going. I'm there. Don't fucking pick me for that thing, will you? Don't. He said, no, I'm going to pick you. I'm there, fuck off. So we skate around, and another couple days go by, and he come up to me in the eyes. I'm picking you. I'm there, fuck off. I don't want to go to the fucking All-Star game. I don't care. No, you're going. So fuck, next thing I get picked. I'm there, holy shit. He picked me. So we were going through a bad time again, a little funk. And Mike, we had practice the next day, but we couldn't get on the ice because they put the parquet down. So he said, you guys, you don't want to work for fucking 60 minutes a night? I'm going to show you what it is to work 9 to 5. So he calls us into the rink. We get in there at 9 o'clock, puts on the game tape. We start watching the tape. Gets to be about 11:30. He goes, okay, you can go to lunch now. Be back here by 12:30. It was 11:30. So, okay. So we're going to go over the floors, and we go out the locker room door, and I hear the ball bouncing out there in the fucking parquet, and I'd never been out in the parquet, always a Celtics fan. So there's a couple guys out there, teammates, and one of the trainers, and we start having a little game of hoop. So we're playing. Trainer gets the ball, Donnie, my boy, Donnie Warden, and I jump up to block the shot. I step on his fucking ankle and roll my ankle. My fucking ankle went like a balloon. So, bang, they think it's sprained. They take a x-ray to say, oh, you got a sprained ankle, blah, blah, blah. So they're trying to get me back for the Bruins, but they're also trying to get me back for the All-Star game. It was like 4 weeks away. And fuck, I couldn't even walk. Oh, you got a sprained ankle. Fuck, my ankle, I'm telling you. They put me in that cold boot with the pressure, and I'd be laying on the thing. I'm like, I got tears in my eyes. I got, oh, you pussy, pussy. Anyway, I end up getting an MRI after fucking 4 weeks. I skated on it 5 times. They were walking me around the bottom of the Boston Garden trying to get it loose. I fractured my talus bone in half. The talus bone is that bone in your ankle that makes everything move, fucking in half. And I end up having to have surgery right away. They put 2 screws in it, screwed it together. I was fucked. So I couldn't play in the All-Star game. But, I guess I mean, I didn't want to play in it, but I would have went. I would have had fun. I would have made it. I would have had some fun. But
you would have been John Scott before John Scott.
What's that?
You would have been John Scott before John Scott.
Yeah.
Imagine Twitter was around then. Milbury naming Nilan to the All-Star team. That would have made Twitter fucking explode.
Honestly, listen, Mike did it for me, and he did it for Brian Screwland in Montreal. He's like, I want to recognize these guys. Plus, those were the rules. He could fucking pick who he wanted. He didn't want to pick someone who fucking tiptoed through the tulips their whole fucking career. He wanted to pick some guys who went through the fucking muck.
Didn't they change the rules after? Didn't they change the rules after that, Chris? Didn't they change the rules as far as how All-Star players were awarded then?
Yeah, they took that away from the league. Does it now? Gary does it. Fucking Gary Bettman.
You went from a rule breaker to a rule maker. I want to ask, before you got traded to Boston, though, going back to the Middleton thing. Yeah, I know you said you got him with your glove. Did you ever fear for your safety coming into games in Boston, knowing how rabid the fans were and what they might be capable of?
Not at all. Matter of fact, that night it happened. I had a couple of people that got in. They were watching the game, and they were saying on the air that, oh fuck, he's gonna have a problem when he comes out of there. People are gonna go after him, right? Well, I come out of the old Causeway Street there, that building next door where we all come out, and the bus was waiting, and I hear these fucking pug uglies from fucking, I don't know where they were from, probably fucking Brewster, Mass, or somewhere out Springfield. They, real fucking Bostonians, and they're screaming, yelling, drunk. The next thing I see out of the corner of my eye, fucking whoa, and it was a friend of mine from South Boston who is pretty well known. I'll just leave it at that.
Alrighty then. Yeah, we can get to that later, or if not, if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll get to that now. There's a lot of famous pictures of the Stanley Cup. I think probably one of the more infamous ones is one with you and James Whitey Bulger in the Stanley Cup. Now, he was basically your de facto father-in-law at the time, correct?
Yeah.
What was your relationship with him? Was he intimidating just to see him in person because everybody knew who he was? What was that like?
I had a great relationship with him. And I say that, first of all, I didn't fucking marry him. I married Karen at the time. And I remember going over to pick her up for the first time. And I went in and, introduced, blah, blah, blah. I was the first male ever to go in that house. Fucking no one was allowed in that house. And anyway, I'm taking her out. And we're going for the door to leave. And he goes, hey, Chris, come here. I want to talk to you. Karen, wait in the car. So she went out in the car, and I sat in the couch with him. And he's got a pistol. And he goes, listen, here's the deal. I know you love Karen. She loves you, blah, blah, blah. But if she ever wants to break up with you to get away from you for whatever reason, just let her go. Don't ever lay a hand on her. Be, open doors for all that. Typical dad talk. And I'm there, yeah, cool. I said, honestly, you won't have a problem with that. And I said, you didn't have to pull out a gun to tell me that. And he said, well, that's the way I do business. And I said, okay. And I go out, get in the car, and I'm ready to leave. And the fucking door opens again. And he leans out the door. He said, hey, Chris, come here. So I fucking get out of the car. I go back in the house, and he fucking peels off fucking 10 crispy $100 bills. Said, here you go. Have a good night.
Oh,
and off we were. But listen, I knew he had some shit going on, but I kept my nose out of it. He was he didn't want me near any of that shit anyway. And he used to come up here and go to games. He loved coming up here because no one knew who he was, and he loved watching the Canadians beat the fucking Bruins every year.
Did he really see the Bruins win the Cup in Vancouver, or is that a myth?
That's a myth.
Okay. Go ahead, Whit.
Well, and then he has, when they got him in Santa Monica, whatever, 2011, 12, he had the Canadiens Cup ring, right?
Yeah, I didn't give him that.
Oh,
here's the deal.
That was all right. Sorry.
Here's the deal. I gave my Stanley Cup ring to my dad. The minute I got it, he come up to Montreal that year for a game, and I gave it to him. I had one made for my mother, and I had one made for my mother-in-law. And I don't know where in the hell he got that. I think he reached out to the company and got it made himself. He loved coming up here to watch the games. He really did. And I never gave that to him. I had another ring that when I got traded, I did my golf tournament. Serge knew I gave my father my ring, and he called me in the office. I was up here in the summer doing my tournament for the Children's Hospital. And he called me at the hotel. He said, "Hey, big boy, come to see me." So I came to see him at the office. I'm there. "You fucking asshole traded me." He said, "You put me in a bad spot. I'm there. You suck." I was pissed. And he goes, "Well, here, I got this made for you." He got me another. I know you gave your ring to your father, so I have one made for you, which was really, it was awesome. I was almost in tears over it. It was awesome.
Other than this,
I have those rings. My father gave his ring to my son Christopher, and I have the other ring.
Other than outside the obvious, was there any other significance to giving your father that ring when you first saw him after you'd been presented with it?
Just my dad, always being in my corner, making sure I had skates and equipment, getting me to the rink, all that shit. My father, my hero, always have been, always will be.
Chris, I want to talk about The Last Gladiators for a second. It was a documentary from 2011 directed by Alex Gibney. He does a tremendous job with those. You really opened up for that documentary. I thought you bared your soul. Was that a painful process for you to do, or was it somewhat liberating to maybe get it off your chest?
It was liberating. The fucking pain was before, baby. Let me tell you. I ended up in a bad place, Yeah. The booze, and then the painkillers, and then from the painkillers to the heroin. I was in a fucking bad place. And, I got myself there. I don't fucking point no fingers. It wasn't my daddy. It wasn't my mommy. It wasn't fucking hockey. It was me. And, I'm grateful that I had some help from the NHL, though, to get out of it, to get to treatment and get well. I'll forever be grateful to those guys, Dr. Shaw, Dr. Lewis, and Dan Cronin.
I was going to ask you about Bob Gainey as well. He had a big part in helping you ended up getting sober. And I kind of just go back to that story you told of when you were on the ice and he calmed you down before the penalty shot. So it seems like he was always the guy there to lift you up when you needed it most. Yeah,
Bob was that guy, fuck, I was very emotional. I was always get up and go, rah, 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 fucking ready to kill someone. And Bob was that calming influence. He always got me to take a breath, when I needed to. And he was good at that. Bob Gainey ended up giving me a card for Dan Cronin, the guy from the substance abuse and behavioral health in the NHL. Bob knew I was having problems, and he gave me that card, and he said, "Chris, if you ever want to, just call this guy. Give him a call sometime. He can help you out." So I thought, I'm going to call him. The guy's going to give me maybe they'll give me a check for $5,000 a month or something. But that wasn't it. He was he was an interventionist with the league, and he was going to help me get sober, which he did.
One other thing you mentioned on the George Strombolopoulos show was during your career, especially being the fighter, is you had a hard time opening up about your feelings because you kind of had to keep this hard exterior. Obviously, probably throughout that whole process, have you learned a lot how to be a lot more open and kind of show your feelings off more?
Yeah, listen, I never really had much problem doing that, but I knew not to do it around hockey, right? You know that from your experience, Biz. It's not like you go there and say, hey, guys, you know, I don't feel like doing this tonight. You know, my hands are sore. Mentally, it's tough tonight for me. You know, I just knew I couldn't fucking pull that card out in an NHL locker room. They fucking laugh at you. So I would just, you know, I'd have my few beers, settle down, relax. I love my job. I didn't have a problem with the fighting. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it was easy or I wasn't scared or any of that. No, I was, but I love my fucking job. I love sticking up for people. I love sticking up for my teammates. Yeah, and then I love playing hockey. There's nothing like fucking scoring a goal in the NHL. I fucking love to score goals. And when I would, I go batshit when I'd score a goal. I loved it.
Are you sorry to hop in there, RA.
Sorry.
Are you happier that the conversation is a little bit more public now and guys now in an NHL locker room? I mean, you saw Tuukka Rask, where I don't think he was there mentally in the bubble last year, and also had some family stuff going on where he did feel like the league is in a place where he can say that and walk away. Although, mind you, there was some criticism, but for people I think who don't have a clue as to what's going on.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. You know, for him, it came down to his family, right? His family or his team. Well, all day, every fucking day, my family comes before my team. I don't think there's a question of that. So the people who question that probably don't have a fucking family, or they don't care about their family.
Chris, they talk about some records never being broken. March 31st, 1991 versus Hartford. I'm going to rattle them off. Holding, fighting, elbowing, roughing, misconduct, elbowing, instigator, unsportsmanlike conduct, fighting, misconduct, 10 total penalties, only 42 minutes. What do you remember about that night?
And a partridge and a pear tree.
I remember it was a game. We were playing Hartford in the playoffs. So it was one of them fuck you games at the end of the year. Who's going to fuck who harder? And it got nasty and dirty. And Samuelson was running around. It was getting fucking cuckoo. And anyway, Bobby Holik, Herfa had there, that Holik, he's coming up the boards. And I was coming off the bench. And he had his head down looking at the puck. And I hit him with an elbow. I broke his nose. I got a 5-minute major. I would be fucking out of the league if I did this like last week. I'd be done. I'd be in court. Anyway, I break his nose. And then the other one was that little Rob Brown. Yeah, no one knows that Rob Brown. He played in Pittsburgh. He's a good goal scorer.
Didn't he have 50 goals with Mario?
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't know it, but he had, and everybody hated Rob Brown. He had that face you fucking hated. And apparently he was going bald, so he got plugs. And I didn't know. Anyway, he come and he fucking tried to get involved with me, and I just mushed him aside. And he come back kind of scratching at me. So I threw him down. I just grabbed him, ripped his helmet off, and then I grabbed him by the hair. And I just fucking started pulling his hair out of his head, right? But I pulled his plugs out.
Oh, Jesus.
He had plugs. He just must have spent like 10, 20 grand on plugs.
Signing bonus on plugs, and you're ripping them out. Way to go, Chris.
And I get back in the locker room. I didn't even know. I was so incensed. I get back in the locker room, and I look, and I had all hair in between my fingers. And the trainer, Fridge, said to me, Knox, you got hair between. Is that Rob Brown's hair? And anyway, I took it out, and you could see they were plugs. And anyway, Fridge taped them up in the room on the whiteboard. And he put Rob Brown's plugs, and he taped them on the board. It was hilarious. The team come in afterwards. Everybody was like, because no one liked that little Brown. And you know what the worst part was? I met little Brown in Edmonton probably about 5 years ago. He's the nicest guy in the world.
Oh, yeah, they always are. They always are.
Oh, I felt like an asshole.
Oh, shit. All right, Chris, you're living in Montreal these days, or just outside Montreal, you said before we talked?
Yep.
I want to bring up the Canadians for a minute. Now, I want to ask you, does the franchise cut itself off at the knees with their insistence on having a French-speaking coach and still kind of having that mentality? Does that hurt the team in the long run?
I do. I think so. I just don't feel listen, not that a French guy can't coach, and it's not that a French guy can't do the job as a GM, but I think they limit themselves when they only pick from a small pool of talent. I just think they limit themselves.
Yeah, it makes sense. Less guys you're picking from. Also, too, you mentioned you've been doing a lot of fishing up there. What kind of fish you pull out of the St. Lawrence up there? Assuming that's where you fish.
No, I'm in the Lake of Two Mountains here. It's
no kidding.
Connected to it, but muskie, pike, bass, stuff like that, walleye.
Is it Habs Lunch? What's your show on the radio?
Mine is off the cuff. My show's off the cuff. I do Habs Lunch from noon to 1, and then 1 to 3 is off the cuff, my show.
Can people catch that online anywhere if they're not in Montreal? Do you know?
You can catch it online. TSN 690 Montreal.
Awesome.
Listen live.
Well, man, we can't thank you enough for coming on. You're right. This was long overdue. You owe us a beating for waiting this long, but it was awesome to catch up.
Oh,
I appreciate you guys having me on. I've had, certainly I've talked to Biz before. I never got to meet the Pink Whitney.
Hey, we'll get together.
And the Rear Admiral.
Knuckles, I always ask the guys on the way out, is there one story that you have in the bank that you always like sharing that you think people will get a kick out of? Because sometimes at the end, it's always fun getting that last one where it comes off to your head. If not, no worries. We just cut it out.
Well, here's one. I forgot to mention it. When the day we picked Lafleur, Lemaire, and Lupien up, I was in the hallway outside the Canadiens locker room in the Garden. And Claude Ruel was standing outside their locker room. And I said, hey, listen, I was drafted by you guys to Claude Ruel. And I said, I'd love to get a pair of tickets up in Montreal the next game in the playoffs. And he said, oh, I don't take care of this. It's the guy over there. And I went over, and it was Howard Grumman. His father was the general manager at the time, Irving Grumman. He came after Sam Pollock. Anyway, I go up to Howard, and I say, hey, Howard, my name's Chris Nilan. I was drafted by you guys. I was hoping I could get a couple of tickets to the next game up in Montreal, the Bruins and the Canadiens in the playoffs. He said, you were drafted by us? What's your name again? I said, it's Chris Nilan. So he opens the fucking book. He goes to the back page. He looks. He goes, okay, yeah, you were drafted, but 19th round right here. Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll get you tickets next game in Montreal. So I'm there. Yeah. I run out. I tell Franny, I said, fucking right. We got the tickets. We drive to Montreal. We get up there, and fuck, I'm still a college guy. I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. And bang, we drive up there. I go to the ticket booth. I'm there. Hey, you got tickets for Chris Nilan? Lady leaves. She comes back. She said, yep, that'll be $270.
Oh, no. COD. COD got you.
$270. Fuck, I didn't have it. Franny had to put it on his card. I didn't even have a credit card.
They had credit cards back then?
No, I didn't. I was in fucking college. I didn't have a credit card.
Traveler's checks.
Yeah, no cell phones either to call up and yell at them fucking right away.
Crazy.
That was your signing bonus.
My signing bonus? $7,500.
Times have changed.
$7,500 and $60,000 my first year.
Canadian
wow.
biz.
Canadian.
Well,
back when it was worth more than the U.S. dollar.
Chris, like I said, it's been a while, man, but it was well worth the wait. I feel like we could do this for probably 2 hours with you, but the story's been unreal. It's been a blast having you on. I think people are really going to enjoy it. So thanks so much for coming on with us and sharing so many crazy stories with us. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it, you guys. Hey, great to meet you. And good luck with the show. It's awesome. You guys do a great job. Man, huge thanks to Knuckles. It's been a long time coming. I talked to Chris probably 2 years ago about coming on, and it finally came together. Hopefully you guys were as entertained by that interview as I was. Oh, Bruins must have scored. People yelling in the background. I can hear it. I don't have the game on though. I get distracted. I can't put the game on when I'm doing the show. I get too distracted. Somebody's got to corral you cats.
Who's yelling at the TV right now? All right.
I don't know. I can't see from here.
One of the neighbors, Biz. One of the guys down the street. You know.
Well, what kind of sucks sometimes in the playoffs is if, like, depending on who your provider is, if you're all watching the game at the same time and the Bruins score, but the people across the street, their cable's like 2 seconds ahead of yours, you'll hear them cheer right before the goal happens in front of your TV. So you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful.
Tell me if I'm Boston without telling me if I'm Boston. That's
God.
another one of those moments. It's like, God, they ruined the game for us.
Oh, I know. People.
At least my pet squirrel cheer me up. That was the worst Boston.
I'll put on the
accent.
Departed again, anyways.
People are gonna be horrified. They're gonna need a fucking translator between me and Nilan this episode.
Oh, speaking of the Departed, in Boston, Ben Affleck, him and J-Lo are bumping back again.
What?
You hear? Oh yeah.
No.
Oh,
Weren't they married before?
Never married, but they were a big item.
They were an item.
Hey,
so Vancouver, there was a strip club there called Brandy's, and it was like it was high class though. They used to do like the Cirque du Soleil shows. The women were gorgeous, but eventually they would get nude. It wasn't like it wasn't going like Lundy's Lane in Niagara Falls.
You weren't firing toonies at them?
They're not doing like beaver clap shows right in the front row center, like Squirt Waterworks in your eye, bringing home the goods. Anyway. I think he ended up going home with a brandy stripper, and he ended up getting busted. That's why him and J-Lo broke up the first time. So it was like in Vancouver, like it was kind of like the news then when it was happening. He's a guy's guy. He's a savage.
Yeah, my director.
Hey,
director.
Speaking, who directed Gone Girl?
That was David Fincher, the awesome David Fincher director.
Have you ever heard about the fallout on the set of that for like 2 days? So in the script, he had him wearing a New York Yankees hat, and Ben Affleck showed up that day, and he's like, "What's this?" And they're like,
Affleck?
No, Ben.
No, Ben Affleck. Gone Girl, not Gone Baby Gone. Gone Girl with
I remember the one with. Is it called Gone Girl? All right.
Yeah, it's Gone Girl. You didn't see the one when his wife like fakes her own disappearance and tries to frame him.
Oh, and he's with that young rocket
launcher.
Yeah.
Rocket launcher.
Yes.
Obviously a little bit tapped.
Yes.
And fakes her own death. But
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. So the director in the script had a New York Yankees hat on the guy, and obviously Ben Affleck hadn't looked that much into the script. So he's like, well, no, I'm not wearing that. Like, just give me like a black hat. And apparently the director is so detailed about everything, where they had a falling out, like 2 days, they had a standoff. So finally the director called him unprofessional, where I was like, come on, like, why does he? So you know what they agreed on with after 2 days? A Mets hat. That's how much this guy's from Boston.
That's how much the Mets suck.
But
who do you think is being more unreasonable? I think, like, who cares what hat he's wearing in that scene, really, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ben, you're hired to play the role. You're supposed to wear the costumes. Like when I went to his set for the town, I had to wear the apron. I didn't say I don't want to wear that apron. I'm going to wear the apron.
Oh, well,
you comparing yourself? Oh my God!
Hey, we need a chef. Hey, I kind of don't want to, or the cook. I kind of don't want to wear the apron.
I mean,
I'm not wearing a white apron. It's not flattering.
Yeah. I want an extra 2 inches on my horn too.
It's part of the costume, man. You wear it. And here's the funny part: like the Mets are no fucking better. Like he was around in '86. That was the most horrific thing. That was more horrific than 2003.
I think it has everything to do with the rivalry and how much he's going to be. Imagine having to deal with that every time. Like some people constantly bringing that up. I think he didn't
want to be a meme.
He didn't want to be a meme.
Yeah.
And I think at that point in his career, would you agree that he was big enough to be like, yeah, I don't want to be a meme director?
Well, he was. He was. The movie came out and he wasn't wearing the Yankees lid.
Yeah. Suck on that, Fincher.
Suck on that, Fincher.
Suck on that, Mank.
Hey, but yeah, he's back. Hey, what did you ever get the story why did you get that massive back tattoo? Did you ever see that?
I think he had a little midlife crisis going on, didn't he?
Yeah, a couple of them.
Yeah, I think there was one point where I think he gained a ton of weight. I don't know if it was for a role or not, but
no judging.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, like for a guy who I think a lot of times you've seen him over the past 20 years ripped, he decided to get an enormous fucking fiery falcon on his back,
like a phoenix.
So we've talked about on the podcast before, Raya. It's like a little bit of an exclusive dating app. You have to go through a process in order to get accepted. I was on it for a hot minute. It was a time waster in my opinion, and these chicks were probably like, "Nah, this guy's a fucking creature. How do you get on this thing?" Anyway, he was on it and he matched with a girl, and I think the girl unmatched him, thinking like, "There's no way this is actually." So he found her on Instagram and he sent her a video being like, "Hey, why'd you unmatch me? It's actually me." And she ended up posting it on social. So obviously everybody had an opinion about it, he's obviously still chasing it, right? But then I guess the debate rose up like, hey, like, you know, maybe he was just trying to break the ice and now he's kind of being, you know, his private matters are being dragged out through the mud online. Like, do you think that was gutless on her half to release the video?
Yeah, but dude, nowadays you're sending somebody a video and you're that famous.
Yeah,
it's on you, dude.
Yeah, he was dating that girl from Knives Out. Anna Diamas. The little very
I've seen
attractive
Knives
woman.
Out. I don't know the girl you're thinking of though.
Yeah.
Knives Out was better than I thought it'd be actually.
Yeah, it was very.
Could you
good.
imagine her face though? Like, hey, why'd you unmatch me? It's actually me.
What the fuck?
Hopefully she at least like crushed him and then she released it after and she wasn't just like releasing his video and I'm still not gonna hook up.
That's an L for Ben Affleck if he didn't get in the end. He's getting.
Well, I mean, that's like, yeah, but then you go back to you saying that the Caps and the Rangers that squash came off even because then he ends up with Jennifer Lopez.
Well, here's the thing. So she just got done with A-Rod. Maybe this is his flexing his Boston Red Sox muscles, getting back after.
Dude, I didn't even think of that. That would totally drive a guy crazy.
Well, that's how Boston.
Sox
that's
fan.
One for the city of Boston, right there. Ben Affleck's just middle finger to the Yankees organization.
Best thing that ever happened was that trade. That A-Rod trade didn't go down. A-Rod was a Red Sox technically.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the league canceled the deal. The league said for some reason, I don't know if it was the money that
they went Kovalchuk on him.
Yeah, I don't know how it ended up going down, but he was going to be on the Red Sox.
All right. Well, enough about Ben Affleck.
J-Lo's bummed.
What a beauty.
The Cathedral of the Bronx.
We got to get him on this podcast.
One more. Did you see the movie with him last year, The Way Back, when he played the alcoholic basketball coach?
Yes.
Phenomenal movie, man.
Tugged at the heartstrings. Good movie.
He was so good in that. Yeah, he got a little bit of Oscar buzz.
He was really good in that.
Yeah, so he's a talented dude.
All right, the movie I think he was filming was called Paycheck. Have you ever seen it when he was in Vancouver?
It's a terrible movie.
Okay.
Yeah, which is ironic.
At least
he spent the whole thing at the Rippers.
Well, that's when he was in his paycheck mode. Like, him and Matt went two different ways. Like Ben chased no pun intended, chased all the paychecks, whereas Matt kind of went a different route. But hey, I ain't going to besmirch him for fucking taking a $20 million payday. All right, boys. Hey, Simply Safe is an award-winning home security system. So it's engineered with the latest technology you want to keep your family safe. But what really sets Simply Safe apart is its people. Highly trained security experts who are always there for you when you need them most. These are people who truly care about keeping you safe. If, when an alarm goes off, Simply Safe has somebody there right away that cares about you and your situation, and they'll get fire, police, and/or EMTs right out to you. Or even if you're just having a problem setting things up, which you shouldn't, because I got this thing done pretty quickly, a person who cares is going to be there to help you out with a friendly chat and a quick resolution. The bottom line is, when you need them the most, Simply Safe is there 24/7 with people who care and experts trained to not only keep you safe, but to make you feel safe. To learn more about how Simply Safe can help protect you and your family, visit simplysafe.com/chiclets today to customize your system and get a free security camera. You also get a 60-day risk-free trial, so there's nothing to lose. That's simplysafe.com/chiclets. Check them out to keep your homestead safe. I dropped some other merch too. And we talked about the bucket hats already, but my favorite casino in Florida, RA's Casino at Daytona Beach. We dropped some nice T-shirts, some blue, yellow ones, nice summer colors. Also, a nice high-quality hoodie. Some of those summer nights sitting around the campfire, it gets a little chilly. You want to stay warm. Why not pick up an RA's Casino hoodie? Biz, I want to see you in one of these bad boys.
So I'm going to get more involved in merch. We did that collab with Noble Gentlemen. Now that the Coyotes season's over, me and Grinelli are going to start cooking in the lab. I like doing this stuff. It's fun. Our fans like it too. Some people get a little negative on Twitter, but whatever, standard.
Yeah.
But hey, we're crushing it. Great job, G. You mentioned the Pink Whitney bucket hat. I got that on the latest Sandbagger, which will be coming out next week, as early as Sunday. We're seeing what's going to happen with the NHL schedule for playoffs. For you, those you watching on YouTube right now, RA has it on. Looking like a little bit like Large from Barstool.
Or Breaking Bad guy.
What's
Heisenberg.
Heisenberg. Yeah. Nice one, Whit.
I'm the one who knocks.
But we're taking on Jose Theodore and Ed Jovanovski, JovoCop. So we're going to be taking on them in the latest Sandbagger. Me and Whit coming off a tough loss against Commodore and Whitney. We need to bounce back. So Pasha will have that ready for either Sunday. We might drop it Monday, and I guess maybe the latest Tuesday, G.
Potentially, yeah, but we're aiming for Sunday. It's
Remember
all
the
based off
conversation
the NHL
before we
schedule.
had where we were going to say like just any day next week?
Right, but we said as early as Sunday. That's actually.
But then you just said Tuesday being the latest possible time.
Next the Tuesday possible time.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly. Plus one wit.
Maybe Wednesday possible
I'm
time.
Spider.
Okay. Well, either way, the Sandbagger's coming, and it's the latest version, and we hope you enjoy. And we'll see you next week live on the chat. Whit being the bozo that he is, and back to you, RA.
Jovo and Jose, that's a pair that beats a full house. Holy shit. Those guys are a fucking couple characters. That's going to be funny stuff.
It's classic.
Definitely want to check it out. All right. The playoffs are not set yet as far as the dates, but we know most of the matchups, and I'm fired up for this one. It's been 27 years in the making. Florida and Tampa Bay are finally going to play in the playoffs. I can't believe it's taken this long. I think people thought this was going to happen in the 90s. Definitely looking forward to this one. I'm going to rattle off a few other series we're looking at. St. Louis and Vegas. That should happen at this point, more than likely than not, barring some crazy miracle. Minnesota, Colorado is another one. Nashville, Carolina. What a fucking run by Nashville, man. On March 14th, they were 11-16-1. And per Dom Lucian, who does all the analytics at The Athletic, does a great job with that stuff, even if I don't understand most of it. They had a 2% chance back on March 14th at making the playoffs. They went 19-7-1 since. They were able to get in over Dallas. Yeah, that's per Dom Lucian, man. The guy's a numbers whiz.
It was at
Dude,
2%,
I'd fire their coach.
It was at 2%, and they went 19-7-1.
Yeah, 19-7-1 since.
I feel like 2% would then need like better than that, like right? Like 25-1-1.
They might base it off of strength of schedule based on the teams they're playing. Standings at that point in time, like either way,
a great run.
Yeah,
we were talking about their coach getting canned. We thought he was the next one to drop. Next thing you know, that his Saros has to be up for the Vezina. Could he win it? I haven't been following the goalie race. I know Vasilevsky's always playing out of his mind, so
yeah, he struggled a little bit lately, though. That's an interesting question, Biz. Yeah, Saros may have well inserted himself into the conversation. Quickly going back to Florida and Tampa, we had some extracurriculars. Mackenzie Weegar got a $5,000 fine for high sticker. Matthew Joseph cracked him right in the face. Brandon Montour got fined $5,000 for spearing Maroon. Got him right in the plums. And then, I don't know if you saw the clip, guys. They were separated by the officials, and someone read the lips, and they think he might have said, "Fat Pat." I'm quoting the tweet. Pat, don't get mad at me. And he snapped and went after him when they was already separated by the officials. Maroon ended up getting a 1-game sussy for going after Weegar after the officials had separated them. So I think that could be a little precursor to what we're going to get from the series, man. These two teams, I think they're playing again right now. They're going to probably already hate each other going into the series. So I can't wait. I think
10-game sussy for Montour for fat shaming, Fat Pat. What do you think?
Get the people online. Get the people online going. He'll be kicked out of the league too.
I'm going to be leading the fucking charge.
Cancel him.
Did you see the picture, Phil Kessel, after he got 900?
Incredible. Unreal.
That's
somebody put him next to Kessler's The Body Issue.
Yeah, it's
900 points. Hey, Montour, 10 gamer. I'm going to start the petition now. We'll get an online thing going. And
it's amazing though that Florida and Tampa have never met, and now finally we're going to see those two go at it in the playoffs. And I don't know, like, I think Florida's happy to play them because against Carolina, they just get their show run, whereas they've had success against Tampa all year. And it's so different. Quenneville even mentioned the fact that Stamkos and Kucherov are coming back. You know, I think his quote was something like, all of a sudden we're going against pair. You know, he's got aces. He was dealt aces playing Texas Hold'em. And so I think it's going to be a little different than their regular season matchups. But I can't wait to see the crowds because that is a state where you could see a little madness in terms of those two teams meeting up for hopefully 7 games.
Now, RA, did you mention, I might have blacked out for a quick second there, the fact that the ice crew was on the ice when Pat Maroon and Montour got into it?
No, I didn't mention that aspect.
So like they had the shovels out there on the ice and they had to hold up by the bench to watch them to scrum it out. So somebody posted a pretty funny picture online that they were holding up, and there was like 50 people on the ice getting to watch it front row and center.
That picture of Kessel is great. Like, he's holding up the puck. It was like, hey, ma'am, I found this puck in your carburetor. Don't worry, I fixed it. I took care of that. And I replaced your filters as well while I was in there.
Who posted that?
No, I just said it now.
Fuck. Yeah, people were saying, what does this guy do for a living? Wrong answers only. And it lit up. I think it was Catherine Silverman. She works for the Coyotes. She follows them as a writer. So, oh my God, what a picture. And hey, congratulations to him. Holy shit, man. What a bounce back year for him. 20 tucks, Whit. He had, so the Coyotes fans get free tacos, 3 free tacos if we score a third period goal. Guess how many third period goals this guy had this year?
8? 17.
13.
Out of 20.
Giving the people what they want.
Fuck, give him 10. Give him 10 million, bring him back. If he could do that again, give everyone free tacos in the Valley. Oh, man.
Shit. Is he UFA?
No, he's got 1 more year left at, I think, $8 million per.
Oh, shit. Okay, well. Yeah. Don't follow me for your
There's the analyst.
One other series, again, it's not solidified yet. I'm praying we get it. Montreal, Toronto, I mentioned it before. These two teams haven't played since 79. Obviously, it goes without saying, 2 original 6 Canadian teams. Winnipeg, Edmonton, that's the other one that's not really quite official yet. And then the East Division, that's really pretty much still up for grabs. Pittsburgh, they won the division after catching fire, but there's still a lot of games left. The Islanders are in 4th right now. They could still catch Boston, who could still catch Washington. Lots of stuff still going on there. So obviously we'll keep you posted, even though if we don't know when the playoffs are going to start. Whole bunch of milestones, man. Not a lot of nice stuff. I was saying to Biz, a lot of emotional scenes in the last week, but good emotional scenes, not all sad stuff. David Backes, who didn't play a ton over the last couple of years. Anaheim was in St. Louis the other night, and he got in. Obviously, it's going to be his last game, and they interviewed him after the game. Darren Pang did. They had his family on the jumbotron. And, I mean, he was just bubbling over with emotion. Just a beautiful scene, though, Whit. I mean, he's a guy you played against for years. Yeah, I got to play with him a little bit, and for him to see his whole career and have that last game in St. Louis go down the way it did, it was really cool for him, because I think it was probably hard when St. Louis decided, to move on, and the Bruins brought him in, and the concussions, it took its toll on him, right? And I don't think he was the same player in Boston as people thought they were getting. But when you look back at how hard that guy played, I'll just never forget when, before the 2010 Olympics, I think he fought 3 or 4 guys on Canada leading up to the tournament. It was he was a pain in the ass to play against. He was heavy, hard, and he made the Blues really good for a long time. So it was cool to see that send off.
Yeah, and based on how the back 9 was, and not knowing how his send off would be, because we talk about it all the time. You never know how it's going to end. Like, yep. We didn't have like awesome stories. It was kind of sad in a sense. And I think he's one of those guys that deserved a proper one. And for him to get the proper one in St. Louis, and a great post-game interview with Darren Pang as well to cap it all off, and an emotional video on the Jumbotron with his family. He rescues dogs. He's just one of the nicest guys ever. We spent a little bit of time with him at St. Louis camp. So yeah, definitely a very emotional scene, RA.
And another guy, we already kind of gave him his flowers last week, Ryan Miller. I mean, when he had started a game before, a few outlets said that was going to be his last start. Well, that last start, that turned out not to be true. He did end up starting Sunday, Mother's Day. And then another emotional scene. He meets up with his parents, his last game ever, NHL career. And he just kind of breaks down into his parents' arms on Mother's Day, too. Another one, again, Biz, a very emotional scene, but not the bad kind of emotional scene. One that very tender, very sweet.
He probably looked exactly like he did when he was playing minor hockey. When he, after a game, when he would get emotional in his mom's arms. It was cool, and it was a perfect angle because you just see him melt, and they both console him. It was a cool moment, and that was online as well. So yeah, RA, you're putting a very emotional twist on this. What's the altitude right here? Are we flying? Are we in the air?
I'm going to put on a sad movie. I'll stop balling. All right, going to rattle off some other milestones here. Feel free to jump in if you want. Anze Kopitar, he did hit 1,000 points since last episode. We did figure he would do that. We rattled off all the stats last week. Congrats to him for making history. Austin Matthews has hit 40 goals. What's crazy about him? 40 goals, Biz, not one of them was an empty netter. All 40 of them were not pure goals. I mean, fucking empty netters are pure goals too, but it's pretty crazy for 40 goals and not one of them an empty netter. Yeah,
you think he'd have
the old Al Iafrate quote. No, that's not funny.
I thought that was Brett Hull.
No, it was Al Iafrate. That was a little over the top. Hey, we can't just glance over Kopitar. Oh my goodness. Talk about a guy who played a very, very, very good 200-foot game, who was able to put up points as well. He still looks as good as ever. I think he's pumping at a point a game per pace this year. And what a career. Keep fucking going. Him and Eichel, 1-2 punch. Wah wah.
Starting rumors. Let's see. Calgary, Milan Lucic, he waived his no move clause so that he can be exposed in the Seattle draft. Obviously would bring him closer to home in Vancouver. So, I guess a gesture that'll help the team and help him as well. So he could very well be on the Kraken next year. And you could do a lot worse than Milan Lucic to have some nice veteran leadership to teach guys how to be pros in the room as well.
Hey, remember what England did for Vegas at the beginning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Luch is similar. I mean, he's been around for so long. He plays a hard style. I think that's great. Good for him.
Oh yeah, he won a cup with Boston in Vancouver, and now he's going to be shitting on them again while running their Vancouver's prospects every night. Well, that's going to be a blast of a rivalry. That's I think it's a 2-hour drive. They should just make a tram from rink to rink.
He's going to do a Jedi mind trick. He'll be like, I won't take Lucic if you give me his next 6 number 1 overall picks. I try to do what fucking Vegas did to everybody a couple of years ago. Fucking fool them into giving up more than they needed to. Dallas Stars were in the Stanley Cup final last year. They will not make the playoffs this year. The last team to make a Stanley Cup final and not make the playoffs the next year was the 2015 LA Kings. So,
they went hard.
They had some injuries this year. They obviously lost Ben Bishop.
They partied their dicks off. So
and they had the short break
too. Just take the year off.
And also, we want to give tip of the cap to Tyler Sagan. He had that video. I think he dropped on Instagram and Twitter. He had 2 major surgeries and battled back. And I mean, you see him he can't even stand on it. And then he kind of gradually builds it up. Whatever the song was playing, I'm not sure. You guys probably know. But it was just a really cool video, and it gives you an idea of, what these guys go through and what they put themselves through just to get back on the ice, to get back to playing. It was pretty inspirational stuff. So thanks for sharing that, Tyler. And hopefully you're feeling well. Enjoy your summer as well. We just talked about Kessel's 900th game, Biz. Obviously, I knew you wanted to talk about him nipping out the picture. We didn't get to that part. And he told me to put that in the
No,
notes.
It was his 900th point. I think he's played 1,100 games, hasn't he?
900th straight game, I believe.
Okay, so Kessel's hit the 500 assist milestone this year. He's played – how many games has he played, 1,100?
I could pull it up while we're talking, but point being, you wanted to talk about his nipples being hard in the picture. That's all.
Yeah. No, I just thought we'd already covered the picture, but I don't think we mentioned the fact that his nipples were hard as rock. So there was just so many elements.
Without even saying hello.
So he's hit pretty much every milestone, including tacos for everyone in the Valley. So
1,100 games, Biz.
Yeah, he got 1,100 games this year. He got 900 points, 500 assists, and 900 straight games. So it's like I felt like every game we were announcing a Phil Kessel milestone.
Oh, the Palm Isle.
13 times free taco.
That's crazy.
More importantly, nipples as hard as rocks.
This is a crazy stat, though. The night he played his 900th straight game, Marleau played his 909th straight. And per Sports Radar, this was the first time in NHL, MLB, or NBA history that two players with ongoing streaks of 900-plus games appeared in the same game together, either as teammates or opponents. Pretty wild stuff. I mean, I don't know who keeps track of all these fucking stats. God bless them, because there's a ton of them. But
Frank Fleming keeps track of it all.
Oh, right? My God. Fucking crazy Mets fan. I got the Frank Fleming experience up close at headquarters last week. Let's see, rattling through the notes here. Cale Makar, first defenseman in franchise history to get 40 points in each of his first two seasons to start his career. Just kid keeps piling it on. Who knows what the future holds from him? Cole
What
Caulfield,
year is the first time he doesn't get 40 points, Biz?
Never.
I'm going to say 2034.
Well, based on points per game, I would say I think he's going to be a point per game player moving forward. Yeah, I think he's figured it out. Yeah. He's like, we talk about him. He's the McDavid on the back end.
Cole Caulfield, just the third player ever whose first two goals came in overtime. Brent Seabrook did it as well. And a guy, Albert Hughes, did it in 1930. But when he did it, overtime wasn't sudden death. So technically it wasn't a game-winning goal. Congrats to Blake Wheeler on his 800th point and to Mark Scheifele on his 500th point. Or is it 501st, 21st? How do you say it, Biz? 21th. 2100th. Congrats to Pasta. He hit 200 goals. He's just the third active guy to score 200 goals and 20 playoff goals before his 25th birthday. The other two guys, Sid Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin. Pretty nice company for Pasta. And David Perron, he played his 900th game, 600th as a Blue. He also got his 600th point in his 400th as a Blue. That's a guy, man. He just keeps chugging along. He's been around for a while. It seems like he's been in the league for like 20 years. I know it hasn't been that long. So just some milestones we wanted to make a note of. And hold on, I got to grab a prop. Hold on.
In the meantime, Whit, did you watch the under 18 clips? Oh, you got it. Okay, sir.
Body Armor. I was slugging the stuff all week down in New York last week. You guys check this stuff out. You must have got some of this sent to you, right, Biz? Strawberry banana, tropical punch. Summer's just about here. That means more sweat. You're going to want to stay hydrated. Do that with our favorite sports drink, Body Armor. Today's athlete deserves more than just your grandfather's tired, old, salty sports drink, which is full of artificial dyes. Enter Body Armor. Made with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and B vitamins, plus no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Body Armor sports drink provides hard-working hydration and more. Plus, it tastes great. My favorite flavor this week, right here, strawberry banana, good stuff. Body Armor helps today's athletes stay on top of their game. Body Armor is available for purchase in-store and on Amazon right now. Like I said, it's loaded with everything you need and tastes great. Learn more at bodyarmor.com. Again, check it out. Good stuff. Keep yourself hydrated. Starting to get warm around here. I knew you have been sweating your ass off all summer out in the desert, Biz, but starting to get toasty up here.
That was such an organic transfer that I didn't even know you were in the midst of an ad read. I was trying to hop in and talk about the under 18 Whit. Have you seen anything about the Shane Wright and Connor Bedard kid?
Yeah, I've heard about both of them. This Bedard, oh my God. It's 2000, is it 23 draft or 24?
Yeah, I think he's got two. So he's a double underager in the Western League.
First time ever.
And
led the league in scoring.
And apparently he can chirp too. He's just the cockiest little shit out there. Just fucking. He's the total package.
He's 15 years old, dominating the under 18s, and I think there was a Russian player that lit it up. That's his same draft.
Yes.
2023
and 2023, and that Russian kid. I think he led the whole tournament with. Maybe in scoring or in goals. I think he had 12 tucks. So you get another. It's going to be another
Spezza Kovalchuk.
Yes, that's a better example. I was going to say more of like a Sid and Ovi type battle kind of coming up, like a new Russian Canadian. Like,
the goal Bedard scored when he went to his backhand and just shelf. Like, I was like, he's 15. Pardon?
15 years old.
So I didn't see. I think. I mean, I don't know. I've heard more about him than Wright, but I know Wright, I think he's 22 draft, so it's
Wright's in that special category as well because he was a double underager in the O. But the one thing he does have size on Bedard. I'm not saying that's the end all be all. This is you see what like Mitch Marner can do in the National Hockey League and the year that he's having and how he's cracked the code. I'm not like fully blown in on size, but that Wright kid's a little bit bigger. Like they see him, maybe you can get like another McKinnon, which fuck, man, put 10 more of those in the league. Let's go, baby. We'll have more McDavid highlights.
We got some good news for the players who are going to be in the playoffs. The NHL is going to relax their COVID-19 protocol for fully vaccinated teams in the playoffs, according to a memo distributed to clubs on Friday. The modified protocol will allow playoff-bound players greater freedoms with regard to masks, testing, team meetings, gatherings, travel, and even as much as golfing, which jealous he's not in the league anymore. It's kind of interesting because Robin Lehner said what he said a while back that we were promised something. Bill Daly said, you weren't promised it. And then a week later, it's like, oh, here you go. Here's the protocols changes we said. So I don't know, point Lehner on that one. I don't know. I'm not trying to piss the NHL off, but clearly that's what happened here. Not that he bitched him around, but there were promises made, and it looks like the NHL finally owned up to them. Let's see. Jack Capuano named head coach of the 2021 U.S. men's national team, which, by the way, Connor Garland just joined them as well, too, Biz. His first international taste.
How about this one with Michael Bunting, who got called up with 20 games left? He scored 10 goals. Like he went on a nice run. He actually got the invite because there's not as many players going this year because they've experienced the bubble life in the NHL. So enough guys said no, where they got. So how about that?
Good
You go from playing in the American League up till like the second half of the season. You finally get your call. You light the lamp, and next thing you know, you're representing Canada internationally.
He's fast, dude. I liked his game. He got in the mix. He was. I remember watching one Coyotes game and just like hockey DBing him and reading some stuff like, who is this guy?
Just competes, good instincts, willing to go to the hard areas, like good along the walls, responsible enough defensively, and yeah, he works his bag off. So good for him, man. What a couple months this must have been for him.
We've got some news on the TV front as well. Of course, the NHL is going to be on ESPN and TNT next season. Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk, they're going to be the lead pair on TNT. And it looks like ESPN snagged Ray Ferraro and Brian Boucher to do the analysis on that network. And word is 99 Wayne Gretzky. Apparently ESPN, I don't know if they talked to him, but apparently they couldn't come to a deal. And then I guess TNT's got their eyes on him. I don't know if Wayne's done TV before to any large extent or any analysis for the folks at home, but we'll keep our eyes on that as well. Buffalo Sabres, Rick Jenneret, he's been calling games for 50 fucking years, man. 50 years he's been doing it, so we want to congratulate him. Probably shouldn't have swore like that, but it's very impressive to do that for one team for 50 years. I got a voice, if you're not familiar with Buffalo, once you hear it, you know that's him. Of course, the Mayday call back in 93 is epic stuff. So congrats to Rick. That's a hell of an accomplishment. This was another unique story too, Biz. Well, I get a little note or whatever. There are two AHL dual affiliations that will have their NHL parent teams matching up in the first round. In other words, teams had to share AHL teams this year. In Carolina and Nashville, they shared Chicago in the AHL, and they're playing each other in Florida and Tampa Bay. I can't fucking talk today. They shared Syracuse, and they're facing each other too. So it's weird. You might have guys who were teammates earlier facing each other in the playoffs. I know it's probably a bit of a long shot, but either way, just a weird little quirky note.
Not as crazy as the 900 games and 909 games played in the same game, but close.
All right, gang. Hey, if you're a business owner who's hiring, you probably face a lot of challenges when it comes to finding the right person for your role. Not enough applicants, not enough qualified, too much to sort through, not knowing when to post positions or where to post them. Well, that's why hiring can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post a job to some job board, but then all you have to do is hope the right guy comes along. That's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/chiclets. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology finds the right people and invites them to apply. In fact, ZipRecruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. It's no wonder over 2.3 million businesses have come to ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. So while other companies overwhelm you with too many options, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for, the needle in the haystack. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/chiclets. Once again, remember to go to this unique place, ZipRecruiter.com/chiclets. That's CHICLETS. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, G, I mentioned I was down in New York City last week doing some stuff down headquarters. We played the Dozen Trivia. Jeff D. Lowe, he started this in quarantine just for a time killer, just to entertain people who were stuck at home. And it became a huge thing down at Barstool, and so much so that he basically turned it into a game show. A bunch of staff flew in from all over the place. Me, Whit, and Biz, we played our first game last week. That's going to air tonight, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on BarstoolSports.com. We can't say more than that, how we make out. We can't say to watch our first game tonight at 7. And also, G, I went on Erika's show, Token CEO, and G told me to pitch my trip. I talked about it on here before. Me and my buddy Lodge, who covers boxing and does a bunch of other stuff at Barstool. We want to go to Ireland in August to go over and film some content. And so, I don't know. Let's roll that pitch, G, see how it sounds.
Okay, so Ari, I heard you want to go to Ireland.
Yes. Okay, pitch time. Yeah, me and Lodge, we talked about it, kind of shooting the shit a few months back.
Were you drunk shooting this shit or no?
No, I don't think we were in person, so probably no. Well, anyway, I can't speak for Lodge, so
okay, fine. All right.
I can speak for myself. But yeah, we just figured, we see, other coworkers take trips here and there, and they basically, like for instance, they'll throw a pitch out, say this is what we want to do. So me and Lodge, actually, I wrote a bunch of shit in my laptop, but basically, we could fly into either Shannon or Dublin. I think me and Lodge are two very strong personalities that people generally like. He's kind of like the Boston version of me. I'm sort of like he's the
New
Brooklyn
York
version of me. I'm sort of the Boston version of him.
Yep.
Two old guys, little carrying a little extra in the middle, bald glasses. We kind of look like brothers. So I think if you flew us to Ireland and we just kind of woke up and had an adventure every day, I mean, I could list 15, 20 different places we could potentially go. But I think if we got a proper sponsor and that would willing to, however that works, I don't know, Granley usually handles all that shit, and say, all right, if we get a sponsor, I think it would be a no-brainer to send us.
What's the pitch to the sponsor?
You're going to have two funny guys go around eating, drinking on probably mostly the west of Ireland and go to all these little hole-in-the-wall spots. I think you can make a plan, but I think somewhere a place like Ireland, it's okay, almost like you wake up and go to a pub, and then something might happen that day where if you got the cameras running, you can get some gold content. So it's like, hey,
why don't you send us to go get drunk for 2 weeks and be on camera?
Well, that was my original thought, but Lodge can't do 2 weeks, so it's more like 5-6 days.
Oh,
so
compressed
very
drinking
very
schedule.
more compressed than I originally planned. But even so, I think we can go there, and whether we want to bomb around and drive 4 hours a day or just kind of stay in one little area. I've been to Ireland. Obviously, his parents are from there. I think there's tons of potential to for good content.
Okay.
Again, I
what do you think that Dave Portnoy would say to this pitch?
Probably want a little more detail on it, But I think, I mean, like I said, I could literally name 17 places, but a bunch of Irish names. I mean, we can go to the Cliffs of Moher, like up to Donegal, Dublin. Obviously, there's the Guinness Factory.
That sounds like a great vacation. For you.
I mean, but that's the thing. It's not really it's not a vacation. Have you been to Ireland?
I have not been to Ireland.
If you're driving and you're the one in Ireland, it's not a vacation. Now, obviously, we have a cameraman would make him drive. But it's like it's a lot of travel. It's like it's fun and adventure and all that. But it's it gets to be a grind when you drive it across the country.
Do you remember when Riggs went to London? Do you remember this? So when I first got here, my first week, I think Riggs was in London, and he had like an American jumpsuit on, and I was trying to make sense of Barstool and just like who was who, and Dave. There was no list of who worked here, so it was just trying to figure it out. And I just remember being like, what the fuck?
I forgot about that. Yeah, that kind of put Riggs on the map quite a bit.
It did.
And then
he
fooled
was
everybody.
Covering Brexit.
Yeah, and he fooled everybody because he had sunglasses on.
Yes.
And then everybody saw him come over. Was like, oh, okay,
There's Riggs.
That's Riggs.
All right, so you want to do the same thing?
Yeah, I would. I don't mean he was kind of more of a man on the street thing. I think what his thing, and that was a very.
Oh, do you want to do man on the street or no?
No. I mean, we could possibly do. I think what he was there for was kind of set up for a man on the street thing. Yep. But I think we could wake up, go to.
Vlog
actually,
style.
You know what?
Okay, got it. Let's get your pitch, Sarah. All right.
No, I actually stole Lodge's quote because that's why I brought my laptop in.
Oh, okay. Let's do this. Let's get real. Yeah.
Where is it?
Do you want me to hold that for you? Yeah, here I can help you with that.
Seriously. this game together very quick.
Do you have the pass 1, 2, 3 password?
It's not too far from that.
That's everybody's password.
Okay, so use Lodge's words. I think it would make for some charming video diary. So, yeah, I think me and Lodge play well together. It's our ancestral homeland, and it's like a place of adventure. There's like a spirit of adventure when you. So
maybe we should pitch it to like the Ireland Tourism Board.
That wouldn't be a bad idea,
right?
Too American mix over there might
or
not
like
be what
Guinness.
they want. Like, yeah, here we go.
No, they would. They want that's who they want to come over.
I mean, I'd be down for a clip. Here we go. Cliff Samoa, Doolin, Aran Islands, Killarney, Ringer, Kerry, Dingle Peninsula, Tralee, Galway, West Cork, Lodge's Aunt's Farm. The island his dad was born on, Kinsale, Donegal, and then that's not even including Dublin, which has Jameson and Guinness Tours, National Museum of Ireland, Croke Park and Museum, Dunleary, all the pubs there, all the restaurants.
Okay.
So,
are you sharing a room, or do I have to book 2 hotel rooms?
We're not going European vacation style here.
Oh, okay.
Griswold. No, I mean, yeah, depending on who goes. And then this is a late one.
Okay.
This is a late one last night. I was with Chief last night, and his ears perked up when I heard it. I was like, Chief, I'll throw your name out there.
Chief wants to go now too.
Yeah,
I mean, Jesus, RA.
Again, I'm just throwing that out there because I love
like the
Chief.
large white guy vacation.
We're gonna make Chief shave his head bald.
Large bald white guy vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But no, I all joking aside, I think it's rich for stuff over there. I mean, there's again a list of 15 places right there we can do.
Are you gonna actually blog?
Yeah, over there. Yeah. Oh, is that a dig?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you or Large blog that much.
Okay, I plug more than Lodge, but no, I'm only kidding. Yeah, no, I mean, could I probably more? Yeah, I think everyone could probably.
You're a great blogger.
More. Thank you. I
You're one
appreciate
of my favorite bloggers. I miss you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I wish I. You
do have an amazing voice too.
Thank you. Yeah, my wife might disagree, but
yeah, I hear you. All right, I love it. How's Chiclets going?
It's going. Can I swear? Fucking awesome.
Yeah?
Of course I can swear in front of you. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I would have, I was pushing a broom in a public school 5-6 years ago, and, now I'm talking to Hall of Famers on almost a weekly basis and getting paid for it. So I pinch myself every day.
That's awesome. All right. Thanks, RA. Appreciate this. I'll get pleasure. Back to you on your pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know that wasn't probably the most formal.
No, it's at least you have something written down, which is impressive.
Probably more than most people.
Attaboy, RA. That's how to make a case for yourself right there. I think that you would crush it in Ireland. It's very funny that, she's saying what everyone's saying, that I think you're just going to go get wrecked. But you did a hell of a job in sticking up for yourself and describing what will go down.
I mean, every time we do a live stream, we do tend to go viral. So, I mean, whether it's toe cheese related, warthog related, all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know. It's probably a no-brainer.
We'll give you a case of Pink Whitney that you have to bring to Landmarks and get pictures of, so we can write it off as a business expense. Yeah, and you have to do a sandbagger with Colin Montgomery. Is that the British guy
from Scotland?
Bro, we got
he's from Scotland.
They can do
one-on-one. Yeah. You get 100 strokes.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, there's tons of places there. I think me and Lodge, he's got a very similar personality to me. Well, I don't know. I think we would have no problem making some fun content over there.
What would be the requirements in content? Like what are you promising? Because if you go there and you write a blog about it, I kind of agree with Erika. But like, how much video? Like, what's
we'd vlog style? Yeah, vlog style. If we just vlog RA the whole time, he's the entertainment in itself.
Just doing bumps and fucking just absolutely.
Vlog him getting arrested in Dublin.
Yeah.
He's squaring off with McGregor in a pub.
Oh, shit. No, there's
sandbagging son of a bitch. Let's fund the trip to Ireland. Come on, Erika.
Get the hashtag on Twitter going. Get RA to Ireland.
We got to get our fans to tell you what some of the things that you have to do when you're there.
Yeah, that they could give you some content ideas for over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. We wouldn't be going all that long. Lodge has a family.
Like fuck a goat. That's what they used to call each other. That was an insult. They called them goat fuckers. They used to call people in Wales goat. Was it goat fuckers? Is that it? All right.
You're telling us.
I mean, you played there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I've never been to Wales.
Yeah, that was an insult. I'm like, I don't know. Is it that bad?
No,
the only time I ever. I mean, if you are on a cold streak, I mean, it's got
the only thing I know about bad. Wales. I was playing Royal Liverpool, Hoylake, and it was pouring rain the first 18. Fucking legitimately raining sideways, 30 degrees outside. Not 30, but cold. And then, sure as shit, like 2 holes to go, we were playing 36. You could see this like land mass in the distance, and the caddy goes, "Oh, that's Wales. It'll be nice here in 15 minutes." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, right when the cloud breaks and you can see Wales, the weather switches." And we went inside. They have drying rooms when you play golf in Europe because of how often it rains and how many groups are there playing 36. Threw all of our stuff in this hot room, had lunch, some drinks, went outside. The second 18 was 70 degrees and sunny. It was fucking nuts, dude. I don't even understand how it was possible. 1 par 3, I hit driver in the morning. It was like 195 into a dead wind, pouring rain. And in the afternoon, it was downwind. I hit 8-iron. It was crazy. It was kind of what you want when you go to play golf in Europe, as weird as that sounds. I had the umbrella. I would take the umbrella and give it to the caddy and hit like this, and he'd give it back to me, and we'd just be walking up the fairway like this. It was blowing, what's it called when the umbrella goes
the other way?
Inside out.
Inside out. There you go. All right. That's why you can go to Ireland. You finish my sentences.
I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for a while.
You got a park. You got a parka on like you're walking on Mars.
No, it was nuts. I don't even know how we were playing golf.
Also, I don't know if you guys follow Lodge and Robbie Fox. They did a fantastic job of covering that Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders fight down in Dallas. I mean, they got unreal access. And I mean, Lodge and Canelo, they're almost like boys at this point. He gave him like the point and the wink after he won the goddamn fight. It's just some awesome stuff. But afterwards, man, Ring Magazine, which is, they're kind of like the Bible of boxing. They actually, someone there was probably some dipshit intern tweeted Billy No Hot Saunders. It's like, dude, the guy fucking might have broke his orbital bone. He couldn't open his eye. He can't get off the stool. It's not the first boxer in boxing history who couldn't answer for a round. It's not like No Hot. It's not that he's a coward. He's fucking injured, and you can't fight when you can't see out of your eye. It was common sense. Obviously, the tweet got deleted fucking probably 5 minutes later, but what a cowardly bullshit fucking tweet from Ring Magazine, I'll say.
I thought that was a joke. I saw that, and I saw, didn't the announcers even say something? Because he didn't get off the stool, but I didn't know much about Canelo. Holy shit, what a machine.
Stud.
The way that guy boxes, dude, he is like...
He's a machine. Yeah.
And he's entertaining, too. Like, he's going at everyone, and he's throwing rocket bombs at people. And that one that hit him, I think Canelo went back to his corner. He goes, he's done. Like, it was just that obvious. And by the time the round ended, his whole eye was shut. And you saw, what a warrior. He's sitting there, and he's like, no. And like, I think his trainer's like, no, dude, I got to call this. Like, this is over. But I granted, I'm a boxing novice. If you've ever seen me fight Tim Jackman, I know nothing, but that Canelo is so impressive. Holy.
He handles himself well. He got
Mayweather. One loss I saw.
Mayweather. He lost to Mayweather.
Who got him?
He fought Mayweather.
No.
I don't know if I think he beat Pacquiao too. Here's the thing. So I would like to see Mayweather and him fight again. I think Mayweather's probably a little bit. He's got to be considered. I think. Yeah, he's got to be considered.
A Paul brother.
Yeah, which he'll probably make just as much money for.
Gotcha hat was pretty funny.
But I like Canelo and the way he handles himself. Although I saw a press conference afterward, and there was some dipshit in there. Like while he was still enjoying his moment and celebrating this fight, he was antagonizing him, and he's like a lower level fighter. And Canelo, who doesn't speak English in many interviews. Like rarely, every interview, it's him speaking. Like they'll ask in English, he can understand it better than he can speak it. So he'll always answer it, and then there'll be subtitles. But he actually just broke out in English and was like telling the guy face to face, he's like, "You're a fucking joke. Get out of here." So where the only criticism ever has been, he's not as much as a salesman. He's not outspoken. He's not like a McGregor type. But that thing is starting to make its way around where it's going to pertain to the American audience. So they say he's the new guy. He's the next big guy.
So impressive.
Lodge has been saying pound for pound the best fighter in the world for quite a while now, and is going back to that shithead tweet from Ring Magazine. I mean, Roberto Duran. I mean, they called him hands of stone. He was one of the toughest fighters ever. He straight up fucking quit during a fight with Sugar Ray Leonard. No mas. It's a famous chapter in boxing history. Now nobody's going to call Roberto Duran saying he has no heart. The guy just had enough of a fight, and that's all that happened. So, did you see? I got into the soccer a little bit down in New York Thursday. I made an appearance on Troops' live stream. Arsenal's live.
Yeah, I saw that, dude. He kicked the can. His team is so bad. They're pathetic.
Oh, it was hilarious because I like to sit in that room when I'm down headquarters. I like to sit on a couch just sitting there and work. It's just comfortable. There's a game on usually, and he wasn't letting anybody in. He had a barrier up. He's like, no trolls. I ain't letting no trolls. And he's like, you're good already. You can come in. He's like, you ain't gonna troll. So I was like, it was like me, him, Zara, and like the guys working social were the only ones in this room. And I was I bet the match just to watch it. And he snapped. I don't even know what happened. He flipped out. He punted that fucking bucket of ice like Jan Stenerud, soaked the wall, soaked my laptop. I didn't even flint. I thought it was fucking hilarious. But then he was like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Dude, don't worry about it. It's fucking love the passion." It was basically for the content, but
what happened was
for a minute I thought I lost my laptop though. Sorry.
We'll get you a new one for Ireland. The reason that he flipped out is because this terrible manager in Arsenal, this guy Arteta, Mikel Arteta, I think. He took off this Aubameyang. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but he's a stud. And he put in this Willian, who Troops despises. Well, funny enough, Willian played for Chelsea. See you later. He thought he was going to go on to Arsenal and rip it up. He's trash, and so is the whole team. Troops was coming at me in that. I follow a champion. I follow Chelsea. 2 finals coming up, a league final and a European final. He was in the European B division, and they didn't even get to the final. So he's got nothing to say to me as a Chelsea fan. Up the Chels. Let's go Blues. And I think that I need to watch soccer with him. But by the sounds of it, I don't even think he'd let me in the room.
I don't even know what soccer's left, but I did invite him to join our live stream when we're going to be down in New York in a couple of weeks. I'm not even sure if we announced that yet, G. We were going to go a couple other places, but we had some change of plans, but we're going to be down in New York for the first few nights of the playoffs doing some live streams there. Hopefully he joins us, man. He's an electric character, no doubt about it.
The change of plans is because of my elbow. I can't play golf, guys. I'm out of golf. We were going to go to Vegas, do sandbaggers. Then we were going to just maybe Chicago because the casino's there, sandbaggers. And now it's New York because I can't golf. I'm losing my mind. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to take.
What if I went 1v1 and you were on my bag so we could do one like that?
Who are you going to play? I think you versus Trent with me on the bag would be unreal. Trent's trying to break 100, I saw.
Oh, so we would just go straight up?
I think you and Trent would actually be an even match. Yeah, I do.
Put Borelli on his bag. That's a match. Yeah, that's a match right there, boys.
I'd be there. His caddy wouldn't even be able to carry the bag. I'd be in Borelli's head so bad. Islanders are losing right now, 2-1. The Islanders do not look good, guys. They do not look great.
They're struggling.
I hate to see it.
I just said Troops is electric, and we had the opposite of electric biz on Saturday Night Live. Elon Musk, I don't even want to call it controversial because a couple of SNL members cried about it on Instagram or Twitter, but I think SNL was just trying to get some eyeballs instead of doing something that's not political, and they brought in a quirky billionaire weird character. I don't think the show. Did you watch it, Biz? Did you watch it?
What were they complaining about? Because he's a
I
billionaire?
don't get it either.
Yeah, it was.
People are mad at billionaires because they think they're hoarding money when it's like Elon Musk has his money in Tesla stock, a revolutionary company that's changing the planet.
That probably employs thousands of people.
That employ thousands of people. That I'm assuming the same type of people that are bitching them for quote unquote hoarding money are the same ones pushing for cleaner air.
Yeah,
well, he's trying to solve that problem with this company because he's a fucking genius, and because he's had some strong opinions online that they just want to like.
What were his? All right, though. What were the? What was the?
Who knows?
No.
I'm saying the ones he saw.
There were staff members. There was A.D. Bryant. She tweeted out like a Bernie Sanders quote, like saying how billionaires have so much of the wealth and it's morally blah blah blah.
Shut
it's
up!
Like, all right, you work for the show. Like you have no say on who the guests are. Lorne Michaels tells you who you work with, and then what's his name? Bowen Yang. He's kind of a new member. He's like, what is this all about? What are we even doing? Like he deleted it. But then conversely, Pete Davidson talked to somebody and he's like nobody I fuck with, like meaning that he talks to on the show. Nobody I fuck with is complaining about it. Like, I don't know who's complaining or what the complaint is. So it wasn't all of SNL. It was definitely a diversity of opinions about having him on. But it's like, this is what SNL does. They've had, his type of guests on over the years, not necessarily eccentric billionaires, but people who aren't comedians or actors or whatever. It's to draw ratings, and they probably get the best fucking ratings of the year. I mean, the show in typical SNL fashion the last 5 to 10 years, it sucked. There was one funny skit which actually made fun of that show I recommended last week on HBO, Mayor of Easttown. They made fun of it. The skit was funny, a sketch, whatever. But other than that, man, SNL, and I hate to dump on it. I love the show for my whole life. I've been watching since I was fucking 5-6 years old, and it's just not good. The writing just hasn't been good. They just haven't been entertaining, and it's not funny. I mean, I know some people find it funny maybe because it skews with them politically or whatever, and I don't know. I just don't laugh
How
at
was
it.
Elon Musk on it?
He nothing. He was no better or worse than an average show. I mean, he wasn't horrible. I mean, there were even people on there who've done it much worse than him. So I think all the belly aching about it before sounds even more ridiculous, considering that he's basically a harmless dork.
Didn't he talk about it in his opening monologue, how he has Asperger's?
Yeah, he said he was the first host with Asperger's on SNL.
He has Asperger's?
Yeah. Dan Aykroyd has it too.
Yeah, what is it? What are the
It's on the autism spectrum, I guess. It is. It's but on the lower level. There are varying symptoms. Sometimes people don't make eye contact. They don't do well in social groups. There's a whole bunch of symptoms. I don't know if the word symptoms. I don't want to offend anybody, but when you have Asperger's, there are you just different behavior types. And I think based on what I've seen from the guy, it's probably on a lower level type. He doesn't seem to be like antisocial or anything, but he said he was the first host with it. But then someone else said that, well, Dan Aykroyd was on the show for years. I think he came back to host it once, and he's come out and said he has Asperger's too. So I don't know if he was technically the first or not, but
good for them.
But exactly. He brought it out and mentioned it. So we can give him a tip of the hat to that.
Yeah, to have the jam to stand up there, it's hard. That's tough stuff to act too, man.
Absolutely. I had another note here from you, Biz. You bit the bullet and put Tenet on. First guy on the podcast to watch Tenet.
Oh, so no one else here has seen it, not even Grinelli?
I've had so many people tell me don't watch it. It's like it doesn't make sense, right?
I was very, very, very underwhelmed. The biggest issue I had with the movie Tenet now, so it happened, and then we went and read the comments online about it, and sure enough, the first comment was backing up what I was saying. In order to get the dynamic of the sound of what's happening, and it must be meant to watch in a movie theater. The vocals of the speaking were so low compared to what the
soundtrack
sound
beat.
effects. So it sounded like they were mumbling the entire time. So I don't know if they fucked that up when so I had to crank it up for the dialogue scenes, and the minute that the action scenes started happening, I had to lower the volume. Like that, it's a $200 million movie. The fuck
was it very confusing though?
I just thought that I didn't think there was any substance to it. The dialogue moved around so quickly, and I guess it was confusing to a certain degree. But to be quite frank, that's not my complaint, because I wasn't even able to finish the fucking thing. I didn't even get to see Avery's scene. I was so bored.
Yeah, I'm a big Chris Nolan fan, and I have had no desire to watch it. I haven't had anybody tell me, "Oh, you got to see this movie." I've heard nothing really good about it, and I think as far as that sound stuff, Biz, I had read about that too, and I think that's why he wanted people to see it in theaters, because of the way he immerses people in sound or whatever. He was so adamant about showing it in theaters, so I think that had something to do with the sound. But I'm sure some that I'll put it on and fucking try to figure it out. But I've just had no desire, and that kind of sucks, man, because he's one of the greatest filmmakers in the world today. But it's been somewhat of a dud. So
I want to get your guys' opinion on Medina Spirit and that owner that looks like the guy from Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, what? So that it's his second horse that's failed a drug test post Derby.
At least, I think post Derby, he's had a bunch of horses that have come up dirty, and then he tried to blame fucking cancel culture like an asshole.
I saw that quote. He's like, "This is like cancel culture." It's like, dude, your horse is juiced up. Like,
it's a drug test. Yeah,
your horse is like Yablonsky in the AHL in 2007. It's like, what's going on here? And you can't even try to mention the fact that he's had 8 winners or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but that guy every year it seems like he's winning.
Like the Bill Belichick of horse racing. Now, to be quite frank, I think he's more of a Jerry Jones where he just kind of shows up. I don't think he's hands-on every single day. I may be wrong here. So at the fact that something may have gotten in the horse that he didn't know about, I give it a slim to none chance. But I do give it a sliver of a chance. But more than likely, he's probably having this thing juice up with something. Because he has been busted many times.
So here's the thing, though. I read that if they have to do another test or whatever. And then if the horse fails that, like, he loses the title. And then what happens with the casinos?
Betting.
And like,
well, the ticket's already cashed. They won't be able to refund anything. They're not going to pay people. They'll just leave the payments as is. But historically, he'll have the asterisk there, and it'll be embarrassment and shame. But if you cashed in already on the Derby, you're not going to have to give your money back.
When you say test again, you're saying this type of test will still show up positive now, or did they do a follow-up test right after, like the next day?
I don't know, but RA, sorry, Biz, one sec. RA, I meant more not the people like they'd have to give the money back, but like the people with then the winning horse, second place. It's like that's the Derby winner.
People. Yeah, those are the people who get fucked, but it's nothing you can do. They can't. It's impossible to redo. And then, like I said, like go on. I think he went on like Fox News and was like, "Oh, cancel culture." It's like, buddy, what are you trying to write a blog on Barstool and get like a blog hit? So I throwing cancel out there because that's like the number one thing. Put cancel in the headline. People will click on it. It's like, but it's a fucking drug test, dude. You just sound, I don't know, foolish saying that. And then I guess
that's what his publicist is just like taking an off day and being like, I don't know, just go with cancel culture.
No, well, then they went with this, like the possibility that one of the guys working on the stall pissed, and then he had to drink cough syrup, and then the piss got into the hay, and the horse ate the hay with the cough syrup, and that's why the horse is dirty. That's fucking something they throw out there.
I'm sure a lot of people are pissing in a Kentucky Derby horse race.
Stall, yeah. And then he's eating, and then he's going to piss on the hay that this fucking $1 million horse is going to eat, and he's going to eat your NyQuil and piss out whatever. Yeah, it's like how
Medina Spirit was drinking scissor before the fucking race.
Might have been born on a Wednesday, but it fucking wasn't last Wednesday. So, a lot of crazy sports stuff going on. Again, I want to remind you, 7 p.m. tonight, Tuesday, us three knuckleheads are going to be on the dozen for our first episode. We can't say much more than that because Jeff D'Lo has done a phenomenal job. I will say, when I get to the set boys, Jeff's a great guy. He's done a ton of work at Barstool, and the job he did putting this stall together, I just want to give him kudos and tip his hat. I know everyone's giving him props for the last few days, but it's well-deserved. So check it out if you can. We had a lot of fun. And again, dropping our bucket hats.
You got to wear that thing in Ireland when we get you over there, all right?
Fucking right. But we got to get to Ireland. Any other final notes, boys?
Oh, yeah. I listened to Dave Chappelle on Rogan. It's awesome. I think it's around 3 hours, which I'm pretty sure is usual for him interviewing people. But I was always a huge Chappelle Show fan. Like, I think the guy's hilarious, and he actually seems like a genuinely unreal person. Mm-hmm. Like, no part of him makes it you feel like fame's gone to his head. It seems like he treats people the right way, and he just had some really cool stories. I mean, he went through a crazy time. He's like, people said I was smoking crack. He brought that up a bunch, and he basically was like, I had enough. I didn't want to do it anymore. And he's like, the crazy thing he says that people came up to me like I was like a failure. Like, hey man, you okay? Like, sorry to hear. He's like, I didn't want to be in the middle of it anymore. He's like, I wanted to travel. I wanted to learn. And I don't know. I recommend the interview. I don't listen to a ton of Rogan because I'll listen if the people interest me, but sometimes it's so long. I know our podcasts are long, but I guess you could break it up. But this one was awesome. I was so interested in hearing from him and how his brain works.
When we were talking about Elon Musk, I tried to listen to him on Rogan. I
wouldn't be able to, he's too like,
I couldn't get the cadence down. It was, he was, you could tell he was trying to articulate it to like,
well, it's not his first language either, right? English? Where's he from?
Well, he's from South Africa. I'm not sure.
Oh, really? Yeah. I thought he was like from, Denmark or something.
Yeah, I should say he was born in South Africa. I don't know if he was actually raised there or not. So,
then that's fair wit. It was hard for him, and the stuff he's talking about, like we talk about 3-4 syllable words. There's shit that he's talking about.
I couldn't think of the term inside out today. So how am I going to listen to Elon Musk? Rogan's smart too. That guy, Rogan knows so much about so much.
He's our RA.
I can't believe the guy. Yeah, he was on news radio fucking years ago. That's hilarious to see.
All right, boys.
All right,
guys. Great chat, and we're playoff bound. I think that there'll be a playoff game by the next time we talk. So it's kind of crazy, but
yeah, we don't. That's the thing is we can't really give predictions yet because nothing's set in stone and no odds up. But if at the same time if we find out there are going to be games before our next episode, we'll make some predictions. We'll make sure we get them on social media just so you guys can make fun of us when our teams get knocked out after.
Tune into the Sandbagger.
Sandbagger, TBA. Stay tuned. Have a great week. We love you.
Great chat. Peace.